Gamers, CSGO lovers, and hard-working students, welcome to Newell's Spring 2022 CSGO Finals live from Confetti. I'm Janiro, your host for today, and joining me are the incredible casters. We got Zach, we got Ant. Hello guys, how you feeling?
I'm very excited,
Okay.
and hoping this is going to be a fantastic match and hopefully a fantastic cast and production from everyone here and everyone behind the scenes. It's been waiting a while for it.
Yeah, I know. We've been waiting ages to finally be in person here. I know I've been doing Newell for season after season, and it's all been online finals. Finally, we're here, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, you say it's beautiful, right? So I'm going to ask you to rate the setup we got going on here today out of 10.
I'm going to go with the classic 11. You know, it's corny. It's 11 out of 10, but it is absolutely fantastic. Honestly, I would not have imagined anything like this when I came in earlier. Before I came in earlier, and it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
I don't think I can follow that one up, really. Whatever I say now is wrong. I'll go with, classic 10, I guess, but I can't go any higher than 11, right?
Yeah, well, you know what? You guys, well, you're mathematically correct. You're a little questionable there. But, however, in the back, we can see the two teams that are going to be competing tonight for that championship title, for those tickets to that Tier 1 event. And for second place, there's about 625 buckaroonies coming through. So we got Rush B, we got UWEC Stags, and we're going to be looking at the bracket, because how did we get here? 9 weeks of blood, sweat, and tears coming through, a lot of time, a lot of dedication being invested. Get us through it.
Well, great question. How did we get here? I mean, we started off obviously with the Swiss. We started UWEC Stags and Rush B both coming through that one. C Stags coming well on top and came, I think, in first. They didn't drop a single map across the Swiss stage, and then Rush B very much on the other side of things, only just scraping their way through. And then you can see when we jumped into the playoffs, they won that first map against Half Natty Head Tappers, going through as well. Got all the way to the upper brackets finals, where they actually faced against one another before UWEC Stags winning 2-1, and then that is exactly why we've got UWE Stags 1-0 in front. As well as that, one thing that I should bring attention to as well is that Trent Thunder Diamond actually did manage to beat Rush B 2-1 in a series in the lower bracket finals. Unfortunately, Trent Thunder Diamond deciding to forfeit before they came here, so Rush B automatically get that final spot, and so they get another chance to maybe take the whole biscuit this time.
Yeah, definitely. And also, to notice the fact, obviously, Rush B did lose to Trent Thunder Diamond, but they actually beat them on earlier on in the upper bracket. So there's certainly still a very good team, if not better. Obviously, it depends on the situations of the night and whatnot, but they're a fantastic team, and obviously we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. The teams, the rosters, the players, everything, and everyone that we're going to be seeing here tonight. Let's start off with Rush B specifically. I'm going to throw this one to you here, Ant. And can you talk us through that roster, but also who we should be looking out for?
So in terms of actual highlights, there's two guys who I'm looking at, which is Angus M and I believe it's Chris. So two guys who have the highest ADR, average damage per round, on the team, and the highest KD ratio. So that's obviously what you're looking for stat-wise, and those are the guys who have actually sort of been looking, very, very sharp. Yeah. And there's also, to complement around those two guys, you do have Xnave, Pani, and Riv, as you can see on the team there. And UWEC Stags, you've got, as you can see here, all 5 different guys: Mate, Magic, Mr. Hoy, Crit, and Bevy. Bevy?
How do you pronounce that?
It's some fantastic players. Beva, there we go, thank you.
Yeah, UWEC Stags as well, talking about fantastic players. I feel like I should use this opportunity just to speak about the breadth and width of quality that they do have on that lineup. 4 of those 5 players currently very active in UK Prem, season after season. Magic, Mr. Hoy, Crit, and Beva. Every single one of them very, very good. I mean, I can't fault them, really. They're so strong, looking at ADR as well. All of them above 80, and really anything above 75, you're looking at, top players that are consistently delivering. I mean, that's shown in the fact they've only lost a single map across the whole event. And Mate, they're 5th rounding it out. Of course, not a poor player in himself, but not UK Prem level like the rest of these 4 players. And I think this is where the university scene really thrives, right? Yeah. This is exactly what we're looking for. Is you don't get to choose your university team. Well, to an extent you do, but it's you've only
got to make the best with what you got.
Yeah,
right?
You've got a certain pool of players to pick from, and so the opportunity to play with players this strong and develop himself. Mate has been developing across this season so far. Didn't start out the strongest, but moving into the varsity playoffs, he's looked pretty competitive and pretty strong himself. So very exciting to see this team develop over the years and over the seasons that we've seen them. Yeah. And, well, this is the combination of it, 1-0 up in the grand finals.
Yeah, and thankfully, Newell is providing that stage, that, you know, grassroots for these players to develop, and provided, you know, that Amazon, Twitch students, but also Intel is making this possible. So thank you to those. I also want to kind of get a bit deeper into that whole, you know, UWE Stags roster specifically. You talked about how these players individually are really good, but what makes them work together as a team? What exactly is their strengths, and how do they capitalize off of those?
Well, I think the only way that you can look at the strengths is by saying these guys have played together, a lot of them. I know that, you know, I casted back when Crit and Magic were playing on Team Xenix together, but each of these players has played together. I believe that Crit Magic and Mr. Hoy, I think, are all going into a roster together for the next season. They're all, you know, pretty strong together as a three, so they've got time to develop outside of just Newell in other competitions that might be going on. And so that really kind of makes it very, very good for them. Obviously, with that chance to win the Tier 1, the tickets to the Tier 1 event, that's something that will be a strong motivator behind what we're seeing today. And it will allow them to kind of go onto any map, whether that be puggy, whether it be a little bit more kind of open in style, you know, whatever it might be, they have the ability to take it to any map, whether it's Nuke or whether it's, you know, Dust 2, either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out. But, you know, on the other side of the table, you know, their opponent, the one that they're going to have to be dealing with, that's going to be Rush B here. And do you think they have what it takes to be able to take out UWE Stags? And if so, what has their strength been as a team, as a whole, in these last couple of games that we've seen them?
See, that's the question that everyone's asking, right? UWE, they're the top team, they're the top dog to beat. And Rush B, they've got a massive challenge ahead of them. But as you said, or as Zach alluded to earlier, they've already taken a map off them, 2-1. And the other two maps, they weren't the best showing that they did lose, but you know, it shows they can take a map off them, which nobody else has done throughout this entire tournament. And if they've taken one, you can take two, you can take three. Okay. So that's something that it's possible. They're not out of this. They're not just some random team. They're still a very, very good team. And well, one thing crucial about CS is the trades, right? So if they can get the trades in, if they have that second player coming through and getting that trade, if the entry doesn't get the kill, you can still get into a site and anything can happen. And in those situations, 4v4s, 3v3s, it always is advantageous towards the Ts. They have more freedom on the map, and it's, you know, it's a lot more liberal, and they can do what they want. They can take control, and if they're in control, UWE, they're maybe not used to not being in control, so they might start to panic a bit. Maybe those nerves start to set in, but that's going to be very, very important for Rush B to make that impactful T side.
Yeah, and certainly the minnow effect comes into kind of talking about this. Obviously, Rush B, very competent on their own. You know, we've seen that so far. To even make it to the finals, they've looked good. But if UWE, for whatever reason, decide to underrate them moving forward and don't ban out the map that they lost on, which was Dust 2 last time we saw them play, there's always a very real chance that, you know, Rush B do manage to kind of gain a little bit of momentum. You take that first map, UWE thinking, what's going to happen next? Are we able to take the map that, you know, we've just lost on our pick? We're about to maybe lose on the next one. And so then that doubt starts to set in. And obviously these players have a good mentality, but they aren't at the level where, you know, you've got a sports psychologist in the room to help you out. So there's always a chance that Rush B do manage to completely reverse sweep this one and take it 3-1. Obviously, that is a huge ask of them, but there's always a chance.
Well, thankfully, we on the desk have our own sports psychologist, our support animal coming through in the form of Noah. But we talk about the strengths. We talked about the rosters. Let's talk a little bit more about those weaknesses of these teams coming into this. Because, you know, we can say, oh, yeah, they're really good. They excel at X, Y, Z. But let's talk about something that you think they should be focusing on specifically, focusing on improving.
So in terms of actual looking at the players, I think that's more of the issue for Rush B. Is, but obviously not to be in a derogatory way, but Riv, he is the weakest statistically in terms of ADR, in terms of KD ratios, and I think sort of, you know, a few other statistics. So if that's, if he doesn't sort of play, if he doesn't turn up, if he doesn't start hitting shots on that CT side, if he's a weak link, UWE will abuse that. They'll go through, if he's on ramp on Nuke and they just bust through ramp every single round, that's a problem you've got to fix. So he's going to turn up and he's going to have the game of his life and show why he deserves to be in this squad and then in this final, to be honest. Yeah.
We'll be heading into Veto as well. I think this is going to give us an even more well-rounded picture of what we can expect these teams to be doing tonight and what we can really expect in terms of performance. Because, you know, Zach specifically kind of mentioned one of those maps that they would want to ban out just because they lost them beforehand. So let's have a look at the first ban that's gonna be coming through, and hopefully the graphic is gonna show up, and we can talk through it. And there it is. Nuke. Did you expect this to be the first ban?
Well, Nuke, I guess so, because one thing that we've been discussing before about throughout this entire season is UWE's dominance on Nuke. And I think it was the last final, or the final of the last season, I think back in winter, UWE just, they were just in control the entire time. They just dominated on it. I think it was like Crit got like 20 kills outside, 20 for 4, 20 for 5, something insane. So he was, I can't blame them banning that.
I absolutely can't either. It was against Trent Thunder Diamond themselves. They played it twice and they demolished both times. And then moving forward, obviously we see UWE banning out Dust 2. That's a map that obviously I said before we were expecting. They lost on it last time. They lost, I believe, 16-13, which is their only map loss so far in this season, which I can't stress enough just how good this team is. They've managed to win Newell seasons before with going completely unbeaten. So for Rush B to take Dust 2 from them, that's got to be worrying, and so they quite rightly have banned it out. And I believe what the next pick will be UWE's map win, just straight off the, Rush B get Mirage picked, but I believe, nope. Okay, these are the maps we're playing. Apologies for that one, but Rush B picking out Mirage, and that one, I guess, in a best of 5 final, right? You're expecting to see pretty much every map from here on out. So there's not too much to talk about here. It's just the order in which they want to play them.
But that's still very important, right?
Of course it is. Of course it is to pick up early maps. If Rush B lost on Mirage, that's 2-0 down straight away, and then, well, it's in a best of 5, it's only 3 in order to take it, and then Vertigo picked up for UWE as well.
So, Mirage is actually positive so far for Rush B. They've won it 3 times, lost it twice, which is, it's not bad. Okay. But Vertigo played it once, lost it once, not the best, so they're not going to be too confident on that. But the fact that, obviously, you can flip it, right? So in Mirage, they've played it 5 times. There's 5 demos that UWE can look for and look through and examine Rush B's T side. Vertigo, UWE are going to be a bit more in the dark, obviously going from the perspective of Rush B trying to fight upwards. And, well, going with that, we see the third pick, which is Ancient. And UWE starting on the CT side. Rush B have had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this, right? I think they beat Trent Thunder Diamond 16-10 on it, and then they lost them 16-12, something along those lines. Yeah. So, I mean, somewhat insecure, but also you can win it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was casting a game just the other day, different division entirely, but still at the same time completely unexpected. Ancient is a map that you can see teams out of nowhere win on just because they've got a very strong CT side, and I've seen it before many times. It can happen again today if we do manage to get it to that map. Obviously, if UWE somehow manage to win the first 2 maps, then there's a chance we don't see it, but Ancient for Rush B's pick, I think it's something that, if they get a good T side, I guess, because they are starting on T side, if they do dictate the tempo, taking that B bomb site often, kind of exploiting middle a lot. There are a lot of smokes that you can throw down in middle and take a lot of kind of areas of the map as the T side, and kind of put the onus on the CTs to have to make a play in order to win rounds. Rush B, they have a very genuine chance on Ancient if we do get to see it. Yeah,
definitely. So, it's all about taking control, right? It's all about taking control.
Do you think so far, considering the bans and the picks that have been coming through, there is a genuine chance for Rush B to actually take a map, maybe even the first map off of UWE? Or do you think that, no, I can already see you shaking your head, you're like, Judy, no, don't go there. No. Give us your wisdom, your nuggets of wisdom.
I was hoping that you wouldn't ask that question, kind of trying to keep impartial on the desk early on, but if I'm going to be honest, I think we're likely going to see a clean sweep for UWE. 3-0. Personally, I think that's something we will see. That leftover map as well on Inferno, that's the free map that UWE are picking up. That is not one that we're going to see played, just so that everybody at home knows. But yeah, Mirage, I think, with good mid control, especially because they're starting on the CT side, it's going to be really difficult for Rush B to really get much done, and Vertigo as well definitely massively favours UWE. Ancient, I can see Rush B picking up, but I think it's going to be too late.
Yeah. Well, see, I think they can take Mirage, but they've got to come out of the gates ready to play, right? They've got to be roaring for it and just fighting for it. They've got to have a good start on that T side. They can't let it just, flop limply and go, oh, we'll just get the CT side, or we'll just go to Vertigo. You can't just go to Vertigo because UWE will run them over on it. At least there's a good chance that they will. Unless Rush B, they let that go through sort of thing. Obviously, they banned out Nuke, but unless they've had a lot of practice and tried to keep it under wraps on Vertigo, it's going to be quite difficult to play versus UWE on it. But, yeah, coming back to the question, I certainly think that they can take Mirage.
Okay.
And, you know, take it to Ancient, and then, as you said, they've got a good chance on Ancient. So it could go all the way. Just have to see how they go throughout the map, obviously.
It's an uphill battle, that's
yes.
for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's focus on the first map specifically. Coming through, and let's kind of discuss here coming through the Rush B's plan that you think they should be putting in place to try and get an advantage. Because, you know, you said it yourself, it's a weighted best of 5. They're starting off with one map down already. If Rush B is being thrown into this game and, you know, the post you know, map selection that they're coming through right now, what do you think they should be discussing? What do you think they should be focusing on next game end?
So I think one thing, I mean, they can't discuss, right? Because we were talking about you know, Trent Thunder Diamond and how they've played. One crucial player on that squad was Whiffin with his AWP, and he played around mid, played around window. You could sort of isolate him and play around the rest of the team, and you know that would be your solution. With UWE, as we said, you can't really do that. Every single person on this team, bar maybe Matt, but even still, he's very good.
Yeah.
You can't just sort of isolate one person and play around them. Every single, wherever you go, be a mid, underpass, jumping in window, whatever you're doing, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be someone who's just going to rip your head off. So they've got to, I think what I said earlier, they've got to be going for these trades. As soon as they're playing on this T side, they've got to be coordinated. They've got to have practiced this well. If they're going for an A execute, they've got to be hot on their heels. They've got to know their smokes. They've got to nail their smokes, because quite a few times we've just seen teams executing and they've missed their smokes. And that's like a pretty basic thing you've got to hit. So if they're doing that, if they're hitting the trades, you can have a successful T side.
And on the trades, and I say this, I think about 15 times a broadcast, but obviously if you are joining us on CSGO for the first time, this might be something that, you know, you're not privy to already. But if the T's do manage to get if they do manage to get a 1-for-1 trade going on, I'm just gonna move this boy over. If we do get 1-for-1 trades, those are always favoring the T side. They are you know, always going to be something that kind of diverts players away from certain sites. So if we're seeing on Mirage a standard 2-on-2, A mid and B, and you get a kill on towards A, well, you've left it with one player on A now, and that isn't the hold that the CTs are going to want to have. So if they can, on the T side, come out swinging and do get those trades in favor of themselves with good flashes and good nades, well, we're going to see a completely different game. It's whether they have worked on those flashes and smokes and have watched the demos, which all teams are able to do. We do have a very comprehensive statistics system at Newell that all the players are able to look into, so they will be able to watch these demos.
Yeah.
And you get a very good idea of kind of how these teams play. So if they've done their homework, Rush B, there's a chance.
They're students, so I would assume that they have done their homework. You know, it's part of the student life. But let's flip it this time around. Let's look at UWE. And, you know, you kind of said that it could be a bit of a sweep coming through. But if that were to be the case, this is the map that they have to win. They have to start off with a bang, to be completely honest here. And how do you think they can approach this game to be able to do so?
Well, we've seen before in the best of one, specifically within the Swiss, they actually did make a lot of mistakes early on. And it wasn't something that was exploited so much. If you did tune in, I believe it's our week 3 or week 4 broadcast where we watched UWE, they were making a lot of very rudimentary mistakes, I think just because they were so confident.
Yeah.
And it's something we might see again today, especially with the 1-0 map win. Complacency might come into effect, even though it is a grand final. You know, you see that you're playing against, you know, Rush B, and you see, well, they finished, you know, 7th early on in the Swiss stage. We managed to trounce them 16-10 last time we played. And then, you know, and then they come out the gate swinging. That's something that may come into effect. So I'd like to see early rounds picked up for UWE to avoid that. That's certainly something that will put them in the kind of driving seat early on. If they do manage to take pistol round especially, that's something I think will be an indicator that UWE are coming out the gate swinging.
Okay, so I guess we're going to be looking out for those pistol rounds to begin with, and then seeing how they can snowball off of that and capitalize on that early win. But, and when, you know, you've kind of tried to stay neutral so far, but I'm going to have to do it to you anyway. If you had to give a score, a specific amount of maps that whichever team is going to be winning this evening, what would that be? And in whose favor would it go?
I hate that.
I'm sorry, I gotta give it to you.
You've done it and you've asked it, it's out there. I mean, I'm going to have to go with UWE, right? I love Rush B. They are a solid roster, but I'm going to have to go 3-1. I think Rush B can take Mirage, right? They've got the potential, or even maybe upset on Vertigo, who knows? But they've got potential there. They've got the drive. I'm not going to say it's a clean sweep. I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay, well. Do you agree, Zach, or do you think they have too much?
I mean, I'm going with a 3-0 for UWE. I think if Rush B do pick up the first map, I think they're going to take Ancient as well. So I think it would go to 3-2 if they pick up the first map. And so I'm going to go kind of with a hybrid and not really answer your question properly, and kind of just say it's going to be a little bit wider, I guess, and say 3-0 or 3-2. What I will say as well, I know that you're asking the questions here today, Jeannie, but at the same time, I want to know what you think the score's going to be, and I also want to know what you think the first map is going to be. 16 watt to which team?
Okay, let me talk to my consultant about this. Yeah, hello.
Sports psychologist coming in.
Yeah, so sports psychologist told me that it's actually not going to be a clean sweep. We're gonna go for that 3-1. Rush B is gonna be able to take at least one map, at least, you know, they specifically said at least, so, you know, they're trying to keep everyone humble here. But for the first map, I think it will be rather close. You know, 16-13 maybe. I think that's something, because it's the first game, right? And Rush B know that they have to come out swinging. They know that that's something that they gotta do to make sure that they at least have a chance to stick around, because if you're down 2 maps, I cannot imagine how that might be affecting you mentally. And we spoke about students and just how resilient they are and how good they are at time management and stress management. It's kind of something we discussed on yesterday's broadcast. But I think mentally when you're down 2 maps, yeah.
It feels bad. I can tell you from being on the other side of it, it feels bad.
Well, but let's take into consideration, maybe, potentially, it is, you know, a win coming through here from UW Stags and Rush B. They are down 2-0. I want to discuss this specific scenario, and I'm going to start with you, Ant, in terms of what do you think and how do you think Rush B should be reacting to that, just so they can stay level in terms of that mental.
They've got to reset, right? You've, as you said, you're down, coming into the series, 1 map down, you've already lost to them 2-1. You're not sort of going to be feeling too confident. If you lose Mirage, which you've picked, you're not going to be feeling good at all. So they've got to just, you know, go outside, stand outside for 5 minutes, stare at the sky and go, you know what, it's a nice day, it's not bad.
Touch some grass.
Just, yeah, exactly. And then just reset and then, you know, drink some water, stay hydrated, folks. And, you know, go and sit down and just go, let's play some CS. We know how to play CS. I've been playing it, you know, 2,000, 3,000 hours on my, you know, Steam account or whatever.
Okay.
Not me, but like, you know, these guys. Maybe but you know, they've been playing CS. They know how to play it. They know how to click heads. They're obviously here for a reason. They're good and just do what they do. Play their own game. If they can't play UWE's game, just do what they need to do and do what they want to do, and sort of become more introspective. Sorry.
Okay, well, words of advice coming through from Ant, but you, Zach, do you have any words of advice for these teams here today, specifically Rush B, I think, considering that they are already down 1 map?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing, and just using those timeouts so often in UKCS, not just UKCS, any CS, I think excluding like A-tier events or S-tier, we don't see timeouts enough, and it really frustrates me watching some of these games where you're like, you have 4 timeouts, just use them. Even if you're, you know, 15-1 down, you may as well just use all 4, and if you do get a comeback, you get a comeback. I don't get why they don't use them, so hopefully we get something, but I'm hearing maybe we're going to have a game very soon. Yeah, so that'll be exciting as we do actually jump in straight away. UWE C-Stags and Rush B already. UWE C-Stags on that CT side, playing in from CT at the moment, getting that first kill on Crit. Riv, though, going down in the meantime. Crit actually getting pushed from 2 angles at the moment. Loses out, actually somehow manages to get a 1-for-1 trade, but the bomb is eventually going to go down. And, well, Mr. Hoy on short is hoping for the kills at the moment. And, well, they're pushing him from CT as well. The UWE C-Stags going very aggressive. Matt A coming in clutch, pushing onto the site. There's only 1 player, and Angus M in towards mid. 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. And he's sandwiched between 2 players as he starts pushing forward. The player on the site just hiding at the moment, and with 1 minute left, it's going to be very difficult for him to get much done unless players start peeking like that. Mate down to 4 HP early on. He only needs a shot in the body to manage to get the kill. The 1 player that is coming in from behind, kind of playing in with his emotions a little bit at the moment. Mate goes down, but Angus A can't manage to win it. Angus M loses out. UWE C-Stags pick up that all-important pistol round, and Rush B fall apart.
Well, nice attempt from Angus in the end, but unfortunately couldn't quite bring it through. And as you said, we were looking for the pistol for UWE, and they do pick it up. This, though, is where Rush B can try and strike back, right? UWE, they've got all the money, they've spent all the money, they've got in with a force, they've got 2 guys MP9s, 2 guys with rifles. It's a pricey round. If Rush B somehow steal this away, it doesn't look like they are going to. They've only just got wacky pistols. They're not invested as of yet. Obviously, Angus has picked up a deagle. But if they force into this and steal it back, then it certainly gets, certainly get very interesting. But if it looks like they're not going to be investing at all and they're just going to be sticking on those Glocks, chances are they're going to take the round, and then, you know, chances are they're just going to continue and let UWE push through.
I mean, I wouldn't see why they would decide to go for the upgraded pistols, considering they didn't get the bomb down. It would be a very big gamble on the second round, and I think they have decided and opted to just go with Deagles, and the players that have managed to pick up kills have upgraded slightly, hoping for 1 kill in this round. Angus M actually going to be the one that takes the first engagement at the moment, and a flash is going to come over, full blind in the MP9, getting the kill on Bevo, who pushes all the way in towards top mid, sees that there's nobody there. Mr. Hoy taking the engagement on towards the site as well, and Rush B just hoping to get this bomb down. It has actually managed to go down, and these kills have gone all in favor of UWE, but while the bomb's gone down, that's 800 buckaroos in the pocket for Rush B, extra for next round. And I think they're going to be quite happy with that.
Yeah, certainly very happy with that. Right, it's a clean sweep, essentially. They don't lose a single person. Their armor's all intact. They've still got quite a few nades, a load of nades, actually. I think there's like about, what, 3-4 guys still with smokes? So, you know, you don't even have to invest any more money in that. That's saving plenty of money, plenty of cash, and already early on building up the bank. It's a very strong start from them, even if it's small things. But in the long run, it certainly will help, right? If you know, 4 rounds down the line, you don't have enough money for a smoke. Well, now you do. You saved it. So small things, but certainly helps out. But now here is where Rush B come back into it. They've got 5 AKs, fair bit of util as well, and this is where they need to turn it around. They need to kick UWE backwards and take control of this game and start taking control of this map.
They certainly do, and this is the round to do it. The flash coming over, flashing PK all the way back down onto ramp. All the advantage that he did manage to gain on the A site completely decimated in 2 seconds there. UWE Stags are very good with their utility. This is the mid control as well that we spoke about a little bit earlier on. Angus M gets a kill he had absolutely no right to pick up there. Crick goes down. Magic going to hope to maybe pick something up as he pushes in a little bit further. Manages to get the M4A1S and does pick it up. Bever as well, chiming in with the kill of his own. Riv, though, trades out in the end. The bomb has been dropped in towards the connector, though, and UWE Stags do know this. 2 on towards B, start rotating around. There's only 1 in Riv that has lingered in mid to pick up the bomb. And I think Matt is just holding and waiting for him to push forward, but the smoke goes down on jungle, and Rush B have a completely open A bomb site.
Say that, but look at this. You've got Mr. Hoy sitting in the palace position, and he can just swing out at any moment and get a kill for free. And he sees 2 guys with his back turned, gets the first, gets the second as well, drops down, looking for the third, can't quite get it. As PK King actually strikes 2 down. Bever getting shot straight in the face, and now it's him versus Mate, the weaker player, and PK comes out on top of 3v1. What a way to get into this, 2-1. They pick up their first round, and actually pretty early on.
This is going to be more of a competition than maybe I was talking about earlier on, and we might get a nice little replay of Magic pushing forward as well. This beautiful flank as well. Look at that, 2 kills from behind. Very nice little play pushing in towards Palace. Cheeky indeed, and I think that we might see more of those coming through. That's a confident play to push through and know that Palace is completely clear and play in and around there. Rush B going to be certainly a little bit more apprehensive, opening up sites moving forward.
You say that, but I'm hoping more thorough, right? As, you know, PK just gets shut down by Crit with an MP9, but if that's happened once, if you know there's a guy who's in Palace, you're going to be thinking, okay, there might be a guy in Palace. We died to him. There might be a guy in Palace every single time. They're not going to make the mistake again, and I'm glad that they made it now, and obviously we're able to recover from it thanks to PK King, but also, you know, in a more crucial round, you know, if it's like 12-13 or something, logically that's going to be the back of the minds, and they'll be thinking of it. So, on the one hand, I'm glad that they made the mistake, at least it's early on, and they're going to fix it. They should be fixing it from now on.
They certainly should, and well, we talk about fixing it. Magic getting the kill on Canary, who I have been told is ex-Knave, just been a little bit naughty in his matchmaking games and received a mute. And now Rush B start pushing out on towards the B-bomb site, but they've not cleared truck. The smoke working against them on the Molotov. 45 seconds left, make that 0 seconds left. Rush B fall apart very, very fast on the take on towards the B-bomb site. A desperate take, really, at the whole end of things, really, by pushing up on towards the B-bomb site. 2 players down. They're kind of predictable in this way. Mate just mowing them through. Angus M as well, not being able to pick anything up for his troubles. And well, UWE start a little bit stronger when they've got the full utility and the full weapons that maybe they were expecting to have in the previous round. The AWP as well on Magic is going to be very, very scary for Rush B.
Yeah, it certainly is. But with a quicker pace, it may actually just work out a bit better. I say that, Crit gets 2 kills, and eventually does get shut down, but the rest of the players are all alive. They're all very, very solid at clearing up. Angus finally shuts down Mr. Hoy in CT, but as soon as he picks a pixel out in front of jungle, Magic is just going to AWP him straight down and not let any more nonsense occur. Which is, I mean, solid from UWE, right? You don't want to be losing to any sort of half pistol buy. And Rush B didn't get the plant. So overall, not bad, quite safe CT site. But now Rush B, they want to strike back into it. They've got 5 AKs once again. The util a bit light. They do have 4 smokes, but not too much beyond that. They've got to make good use of them.
They do. Mr. Hoy giving away his position as well, and 32 of his HP to push forward and get a little bit of information. Ultimately yields absolutely no results, and well, they give themselves away immediately in the round. This ace smoke setup is something that's coming out very, very quickly. Mr. Hoy swinging in and around the default of the bomb sites. Whether he's going to get caught out, yes, X-Nave does rip the head off over, pushing through Palace. Canary, or X-Nave rather, just hoping for a spam through in towards jungle. The Molotovs have rained down on towards the site. Bever as well, swinging in from CT, picking up 1, hoping for more in and around the smokes, and this is the futility of pushing through and throwing the smokes down so early. They've got no util to hold the site as Magic pushes forward even more aggressively, picks one up on towards the site. Angus M gives himself away. Magic gets another kill. Mate, and well, it falls apart straight away. Magic with the AWP wins it out 5-1 for UWE, and looking very desolate for Rush B.
That is unreal. You can't get kills like that. He's just standing on stairs. They know there's a guy stairs. As soon as the first guy dies, right, he's sitting in the back of the site, he gets AWP because, hey, there's an AWP on stairs, don't peek. And then he just swings out and kills everyone. There's a guy full view in Palace. There's a guy full view on ramp there. And that shouldn't happen by any means, but it does. And that's frustrating. Must be they got into the site, they got the trade, but then they just get torn apart by UWE. And also, you know, obviously Magic just hitting crazy shots, but also, like, you saw the wallbang there. I think that's just the experience coming out, right? You see them just bringing out the wackiest sort of strats and small things they can add to it to get those kills and get that damage off. Which, I mean, Rush B, so far we haven't seen too much of themselves, and they're going to have to do something. And at the moment, it's not quite working out. Magic just pushing through the edge of the smoke, and he takes down Angus. Riff finally striking back. He takes down Crit in window in a very, very risky play, but somehow it works out.
It does. And well, we spoke before the game about how these 1-for-1 trades favour the T sides. It's whether they favour Rush B with UWE in as much form as we've seen them in recently. I mean, class really more than anything, isn't it? But 1 minute left on the clock. There's plenty of time for Rush B to find another pick. And well, when they get 2, bomb sites are opened up, but they're funneling into an area that UWE are covering pretty aggressively. They've given up mid completely. Bever as well, boosted silently further forward. This is not going to be an easy push coming through. The smokes as well, they aren't being lined up any further. They're just rushing forward. Bever perfectly positioned to get more than 1. Swinging, gets 2. PK manages to kill him in return. Pushing forward on towards the site. Doesn't know that there's a player in and around here who's playing perfectly on the site. There's only 1 left alive for PK. Hoping to kill, I believe that's Mate, that's just funneling around. Well, Magic picks it up anyway. Oh, hardly anything to talk about there. They just fall apart so quickly.
12 for 2 Magic at this point in time. And yeah, Bev, I mean, it's not even, that's not a mistake on Rush B's behalf, right? He's sitting in the corner. They actually wide swung to check him, but he's just quicker. He just hits the headshot instantly, eliminates one of them, swings out, and by the time they can react, he's already killed 2 of them. And eventually they do get the trade, obviously, which is, you know, fantastic, but damage has been done. It's a 2-for-1 trade, which is exactly what you want as the CD, not what you want as the T side. And you can see the confidence exuding from UWE as they're pushing straight up mid. 2 of them running through mid. Actually, it kind of falls apart. Mr. Hoy trying to clear up and trying to gun down the pistols and eventually loses his life as well. And all of a sudden, but not actually that suddenly, Rush B have got the advantage, a man advantage. Magic by himself. I'll have to bring out a bit of Magic to try and clutch this off. 2v1. He should hear the footsteps of Riv running above him and across all the way into B. I don't think I'll have any idea where he is. He's already sneaking through underpass around to the back of B, and this could certainly net him a kill for free, at least 1 by surprise. But as soon as he gets that, as soon as he fires the trigger, they've got to be ready to trade. He's sneaking closer and closer to him, but they split him out straight away. He's tagged out, now they know exactly where he is, and PK will not let him live any longer. He shuts him down, takes the round, and they get their second on the board.
The 122 ADR player struck down, and well, When you see someone with that much ADR, you can't say that they're having a bad game, can you? 6-2, still the Sea Stags, although 5 rounds reduced to 4 rounds advantage. Rush B, as they often do, I feel like are committing pretty early on towards a bomb site. I think it's been a little bit of their undoing so far. It's something that UWE have clung onto quite well, and well, Crit getting a kill on towards top mid. Angus M falls down, and they chance towards A. There's 2 towards B, 3 towards A. And when you have no mid control, this is exactly how it pans out. There are going to be 4 players pushing forward in towards these angles, though. So there is always a chance that they do manage to take it. The smokes go down as well. There's 1 player, Mr. Hoy, just playing in and around the triple box. He does get mollied out, and PK picks the head off of him in the meantime as well. Well, the bomb site has been opened up fairly substantially. There is still yet another player in towards the triple spot. Swings wide, gets traded 1-for-1. Xnave still manages to pick it up. Panics, though, loses out. Bever pushing through CT, getting more kills. And Crit as well. How has that happened? The A bomb site seemed right for the taking, and well, it absolutely wasn't. At least the bomb goes down, but the T's really looking desperate.
That should not happen. They were just obviously losing the first pick in mids. But then they go through to A. I didn't think they were going to make it work. 3 versus, well, 4 versus 4, I think it was, or 4 versus 3 at least. And it's going to be a tricky way to attack that A site, but they get in. But unfortunately, it just falls apart. They just get picked apart 1 by 1. Crit getting the kill, Bever getting 2 kills, just swinging out of CT, and apparently no one's holding it, or holding it not well enough. And it falls apart when that was very much their round to have and to take. And they needed it, and now, I mean, they're going to be starting to... It's going to be starting to get to them, right? The confidence is going to be somewhat waning. It's going to be... the mental's going to be... He's going to be playing a game, right?
Well, I mean, mid-control is such a staple of this map, and Rush B are completely leaving it alone at the moment. They're letting Crit push up aggressive. They're letting them get an idea as to which site they're going towards. Mr. Hoy taking this engagement as I talk a load of rubbish about what's been happening in the rounds before. Angus M does luckily trade out, and Xnave is in a perfect position here to kill the AWPer. Starts pushing through just at the right time. Panics pushing forward, gets traded by Crit. The bomb, it's gone down on B. The fake's not worked. They've not fallen for it, the Sea Stags. And even though the A bomb site's been carved open, it ultimately means nothing. Xnave is just left in no man's land with 50 seconds left on the clock. A 1 versus 3 against 3 players that have been ultimately destroying them so far. And it does give me a little bit of time to talk about what I wanted to talk about, which is that they aren't taking mid control. They're leaving it completely open. It's something we see at every level is that mid control is so important on this map, and they're just leaving it alone. They're going absolutely nowhere near it. It means, Crit's pushing aggressively. He's getting an idea as to where they're going. He, for all they know, he could be in T-spawn at any period of time. Yeah. And they have no idea what's going on. Finally, we're seeing players go towards mid, at least one of them, but before, when they've been playing against M4s, when they've been playing against AWPs, they've just peeked in towards mid and been killed.
Yeah, they need to do something better than that, rather than just this one smoking connector and then just going, we don't really care. They need to do something better. They need to drop those smokes, like, in window perhaps, and one on short, or even just the first one, right? As soon as you come out of mid, drop a smoke right there so you can get to the box, so you can have multiple different angles.
Ooh.
They need to do something, and eventually they start to change it up. Someone's actually holding it, and that is Xnave, who gets an AWP kill. In the meantime, rifle shots exchanged over at A, and it's come out positively for Rush B. They've got a man advantage now, thanks to Xnave's pick in mid. But also they've got A map control. They haven't actually pushed in and cleared the site yet, and that's certainly going to give them a lot of time, as UWE are absolutely nowhere near. But they've pushed through into B. They've got a kill of their own. And it's finally, eventually, the smokes and the flashes all come in, and they can get the plant down uncontested as Bevis just spraying through. Eventually gets a kill. Panic's going down. The flash is perfect. Mate can swing out and get the first. AWP shot missed by Xnave, and he'll get one, but unfortunately for him, Magic is directly behind Matt, and he's ready to trade, ready to frag, and ready to get this defuse. UWE getting to 9, and Rush B just, I mean, even if they're getting to the site, they break through the wall finally, and then the wall just comes back and hits them in the face.
I mean, fundamental mistakes there. All they have to do is push in towards CT as a unit. You can see 2 players have peaked CT at just completely different times, and Rush B, with those fundamental errors, they're allowing themselves to lose the A bomb site. When the bomb is down on default, you're either playing, for a retake from Palace and hoping that, you catch them out by playing in Palace and maybe picking something up, or you're pushing in towards CT. Instead, they're taking fights at completely different times in very different areas of the map, and they lose out on the retake, and rightly so in terms of how they're playing. It's really small little mistakes like this, they accumulate and they turn into round losses. And well, they need to completely tighten this up at the moment. And well, a timeout would certainly do that, although as we've said already, UK CS teams are allergic to them at the moment. Rush B, they're hoping for that first kill through the smoke. Xnave does manage to get the kill on towards Mr. Hoy, who they do know is an A default player, so this might indicate to them that there are more players on towards the A bomb site than maybe they bargained for. Xnave picking up 2, actually in towards Connector. Bever and Crit, though, chiming in with 2 of their own in the meantime. Magic and Mr. Hoy, though, they are not easy players to kill.
That?
And, well, the smoke is just not good on mid-window. I couldn't tell if that was a smoke through the through the mid position at that point. PK just hoping that there's a player in towards CT that he's able to pick up. The smoke goes down in the meantime. And, well, just falls out of luck in the Crit exchange. Panic's just hoping for something, swinging on towards CT. He doesn't know that both players are there. Matt, though, he changes to the knife at the wrong time. Panic's now has a chance. He's jumping like a madman, though, and UWE, they win that one as well. 10 HP, it's not good enough when you're jumping around and making a hell of a lot of noise like he was. 10 and 2.
So finally, they take mid control. You see it here, and they do it well. But then elsewhere, they just lose every other fight, right? Like we said about the trades. So Xnave, he got the kill onto A firstly, which obviously weakens the A defense, and then he pushes through Connector and kills another on A, and then eventually gets traded by Crit. Where's everyone else? Why are they dying? What are they doing? You need to do something cohesively together. I'm glad they at least took mid control there, but that just kind of fell apart because there was no real cohesion and glue and real direction, right? If they went for a bit of an A split, okay, but they didn't really decide what they were doing until it was a bit too late and they're all dead. They need to make these decisions. Maybe they are, but we're just not seeing it. As eventually, they do just walk into A, go for a bit of a contact play, and it seems to be working. Mr. Hoy gets the first kill, but traded back as Xnave is doing all the heavy lifting here. He gets 2 kills, takes down Magic as well, is looking to push even further and get an advanced position on jungle. And he's actually eventually joined by Panics. 2v4, a retake coming in, and Matt through the smoke. He actually takes down one of the players, but this flank is perfect. Canary, Xnave more accurately comes from behind and will eliminate both of them. Bever not even reacting as his teammate gets shot behind him. 4K for him, and they eventually get the 3rd round on the board. That is a hell of a lot of heavy lifting.
Well, 13-2 looks a lot worse than 12-3, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I guess they're hoping for 11-4 or 10-5 now. 10-5 would actually be very respectable for a T side as far as what we've seen, really, in terms of it has really been a clean sweep in the rounds that the Sea Stags have picked up. Angus M is getting pushed very aggressively. That flash, very, very good. Crit and Mr. Hoy playing together.
Where's he in the corner, right? Like if they're going to be
very
pushing,
open, isn't it?
Yeah, they've done it before. I think it was Was it Crit who just... Yeah, it was Crit.
It was.
It was like the 3rd round or 4th round. Just flashed through and pushed with the MP9 and killed him. And he does the exact same thing again. He dies to it. Eventually, Panics is holding the angle beautifully, I may say. 2 headshots, takes down both Mr. Hoy and Crit. 2 very heavy hitters on that A site, but there's still Magic here. He's only got a Deagle. And that's certainly making it a bit more easier for, well, Rush B in general, as the buy is somewhat weak on the CT side. But Panics, he checks underneath, but he doesn't check to his right. And Magic will finish him off. That's actually an AK found, but the rest of them, they're actually looking to push into B, and Bever's here with an AUG. He's actually got a teammate to back him up here as they wait, and he's getting an aggressive angle with the AUG, scoped in, gets the first, and doesn't get the second. Riv turning around, taking off his head. That's unusual, and he gets the second as well. Matt goes down, and now it's a one-on-one versus Magic, who's rotated across from the A site. Riv is low, but he's taking his time. 40 seconds left on the clock, and now he has to be careful and try expect where Magic can come from. And he's not checking short or, well, in that corner. And Magic will just tap him out.
I think that might be the inexperience for Riv. The clutches, they are a little bit more difficult. We can see at the bottom there exactly what it is that we've seen so far. Nice double kill there for Panics, actually. 2 kills coming in, and oh, this is a replay. Sorry, of course it is. I don't know why I'm casting that one as if it's actually happening live. But yeah, we can see exactly what rounds we've seen for UWC Stags. It's been quite the dominating play so far. Rush B, they need this last round to be competitive, and this is a very good boost in towards top mid. But Rush B, they don't push it. We've not seen them push it much at all. There's no smokes down, and this is indicating to the CTs that there is no one here. Going to push aggressive. There is a player holding this at the moment. PK pushing out onto towards the A bomb site as well. There's 3 players in that area. He may end up trading 1-for-1, and if he does, that's a very good push. But 0 for 3 is not going to be good in the slightest. Magic Smoked them off as well. The A bomb site isn't being checked. PK's pushed forward without thinking. Magic, though, has gone a little bit too aggressive as Angus M plucks the head off of that one and goes, thank you very much, I'll take that. Starts pushing back towards A. Rush B hoping that maybe there's been an over-rotation from the CTs in towards middle. It does look like they're looking towards this angle, but well, they are in really easy spots to rotate back in, and Mr. Hoy has been very, very good from under Palace.
Yeah, you can say, oh, there's only one guy. It's only Mr. Hoy underneath Palace versus 4 people, but he can just multi-frag. He's a good player. We've seen it before, and he can certainly pull it off again. And as you say that, Crit actually rotates off of mid and swings straight out, seeing 2 guys at ramp, and that's a nice amount of info. The smoke's trying to block them off as Mr. Hoy sitting underneath Palace, drops the bomb, gets a second, has to reload, somehow staying alive, pulls up a 5-7, and he gets the kill! What is that? No! You gotta shoot bullets at him!
Oh my word.
What?
And I don't know what's just happened. The Molotov, it misses. They've absolutely just completely biffed it there. Look at them. He pushes through the Molotov. He's just standing in it. He doesn't even care. What turns around and walks away, and they still don't kill him.
Pulls out 5-7. Hello.
That was such an opportunity for Rush B to potentially win the round. If they get the kill on the player underneath Palace, they didn't really even need a player to rotate in. Mr. Hoy had it all under wraps. And well, they go into the CT half with only 3 rounds. I mean, it's such a mountain to climb. Already it was difficult, but on their own map pick, it looks like already they're going to lose. PK especially isn't making it any better by pushing in towards middle and getting his head touched at by a couple of players that push forward. I believe 4 of them all pushing in. Angus M isolated on this site, nobody there to help him. He needs to get kills fast, and he isn't getting them. Mate rips his head off on towards the A-bomb site. Rush B and No Man's Land, 3 of them all in CT, and it's being very well held by UWE.
Just falling apart. They're not hitting their shots, right? Angus had to get 1, maybe 2 there. You're playing around the default box. They're charging you. Swing out and hit headshot. That's what you'd expect in CS, right? But he just can't. He just can't land the shot. And now they've got a very, very difficult task of trying to retake this. They don't have a kit. PK's low. They lose out Xnave as well. And they're just getting gunned down. Eventually, Panics is trying to fight back, get to 1 kill. But when you've got 3 guys all jumping out at you and just shooting bullets at your face, you can't really handle all of them. 13-3. To UWE Stags, and this is looking like a Rush B, not quite giving up, but like they haven't got the vigor and the fire in them.
They look a very different team to what we've seen in previous seasons, and really even in this season itself, right? We've seen them look very, very strong in other matchups. You know, we talked about how they played against Trent Thunder Diamond a number of times across this. It's been trading 2 for 1 on maps so far very, very often, and well, they just look a different side in this one. They're being completely dominated. The player holding connector does manage to get 2 in the meantime, but well, a 1 versus 3 all of a sudden for Panics, as fast as really I can cast. They've got 4 kills. And well, with this Deagle, it does have the 1-shot headshot potential, but it's where the Panics does himself. Only 6 and 15 at the moment, needs to add 50% to his scoreline, and well, Bever's not going to let that one happen. Picks up the kill, picks up the round. 14 rounds for UWEC Stags, and well, I expect we're going to see them take this one 16-3 if it does continue in this manner.
You can just see it in how UWE are playing, right? They've got the site, it's a 3v1, and he's just on Tetris and goes, you know what, I'm just going to jump onto stairs. Someone could be in jungle, someone could be on stairs, someone could be in connector. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. And he does it, and then still wins the fight anyway. You can see from just how he's acting, and there you go. He misses the fight. That's UWE, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to take the fights and win them. And the weaponry isn't really there on Rush B. They do have MP9s and Deagles, which certainly have a bite if they're not careful. But considering how UWE have played, it's certainly in their favour, especially with the AKs. PK is going walkabouts, and unfortunately for him, Matt is watching him. He'll take off his head. Easy headshot. Well, he's going to be thankful for that. Xnave is trying to fight back, does take back that man advantage. And that does leave UWE in a bit of an awkward situation, sort of awkward position. They have to go back to collect the bomb from top mids, and now they've got to take quite a lot of territory as Panics has pushed all the way through, has now gone underpass trying to clear out mids. But it's a very weird dynamic and situation in this map.
I think they're thinking that Rush B will go aggressive in some area, but well, they're actually playing very, very disciplined at the moment. Not a single one of them going too aggressive. This is the teamwork that I wanted to see from Rush B on the T side. They are playing so well together, peeking into different angles, hoping for trades if there are players in and around these different positions, and they are just going to slowly push in towards the B bomb site. There is a player towards underpass, and I was talking about trades. Rush B, they don't let them get any trades. Panics picks up 2, pushing through the underpass. He was completely alone. It was a risky play, but it works out for them, and you've got to say, he's got, you know, something to him to go and push underpass by himself after this scoreline.
I'm glad he's not lost it. I'm glad he's still thinking it and feeling it, and you know what, I'm going to be just going for it. I'm going to be trying this and see if it works out, and obviously it does. It does in the end. It does get in their 4th round, but it's a very, very long and arduous journey all the way back into it. They're going to get 12 rounds straight, or 11 and conceding 1. And with UWE just taking these liberties, well, it may just work out. 3 kills in favor of Rush B. Bevy eventually getting an answer for Rush B, but with Panics slightly panicking and being overwhelmed on the B bomb site, he will fall, and that does allow Mr. Hoy to actually take an AK and push take his AK and push it all the way through. And tried to make damage as the bomb was dropped in mid, but that won't be achieved. He'll get gunned down. Riv finishing him off, and Rush B showing they've actually got some life, but is it too little too late?
Well, I think looking at this one a little bit more objectively, I think maybe we're looking at the scoreline a bit too much. Mr. Hoy hoping for a little bit of economic damage in that one at least, to keep Rush B on the ropes for a little bit longer, right? If you do get 3 kills on the T side, if you do manage to only leave 2 CT players alive, the economy is only going to get worse. They won't be able to pick up those AWPs, those M4s quite as often. And so if they are able to keep them on the ropes like that, it was something that they were hoping for. Mr. Hoy unfortunately hasn't managed to get that one done. And Rush B hoping to keep this one clean and keep at least 4 players alive as they do start pushing in towards the A bomb site. Angus M helping out his teammate in Riv, who falls to the Zeus in the end. But, well, I said that they only wanted 1 player to die at the very most. And, well, that is exactly what's happened. Rush B, while they did get Zeused, and while Riv maybe a little bit of egg on his face in that round and maybe looking a little bit more red than usual, at least they only lose 1 player and the economy does get a little bit better. Riv is going to be able to pick up an AWP if he does need to. He does actually drop that one over to Xnave. And, well, Rush B certainly have a chance to come back into this game. And if they don't win it, at least make that scoreline look a little bit more respectable. If they pick up 7, 8 rounds in total, it looks a hell of a lot better than 6.
Also the mental aspect, right? The momentum, trying to break it up. If UWE just, you know, run straight through them 16-3, they're going to go straight into Vertigo thinking, yeah, this is easy. We'll just take it. Simple. We just beat them on their own map pick. Whereas if Rush B fight back, they go, actually, we had some good rounds. We had quite a few good rounds. It was a competitive or more competitive scoreline. We've shown that we can take rounds from them. We can take fights from them. If we can take rounds, we can take the map. That's what they need to do. Panics will get the first kill, but nothing more than that. He gets double peaked, and PK, he'll actually fall away and just concede the site to them. Smoke dropped by Beverin, actually looking to push a bit more around it, but that's a very cheeky angle. He could certainly get 1, maybe 2 kills off of it, and he does get 2. Just sprays, holding down Mouse 1 and gets 2 of them. Angus and PK will strike back, though. They'll make it into a 2-on-2 situation, trying to retake this site. They do have a hit on PK. The nades are, well, they're there for any sort of a retake, but they're not using it. Matt takes down PK, and he's low, but it's a 1v2 for Angus. And he's going to try pushing to the site. He stares directly at a flash. He finds that shot, for now they know exactly where he is. He's going to swing out and try and take that fight versus Bever, but he can't. Bever's just so quick. Straight on the trigger, takes off his head, 15-6, and it's match point for UWE.
And this will take them to 2-0 if they do pick it up. Rush B, they're going to hope to maybe get something. The 1 round that they managed to pick up an AWP on Xnave, which is, of course, his preferred weapon. The Sea Stags have stopped them right in their tracks. They've taken the B bomb site so fast. The jumping in and around the apartments is so good for checking back apps, but somebody didn't give Rush B the memo that you shouldn't really be doing it when there's a smoke down, because you're jumping into players. If they just rush through that smoke, you're screwed. There's nothing that you can do. PK getting naded very heavily. The AWP actually does manage to pick up Mate, but that's the least of their worries when it comes to the UWE Sea Stags lineup. Not to disgrace Mate at all. He is a very good player, but there's a lot of very good ones on UWE. They managed to pick up a lot of kills in towards Connector, and PK isn't helping himself by whiffing on that spray in towards Underpass. It looks like B is the site that they are going to look to go towards. The bomb as well has managed to sneak all the way through CT. Is that the bomb? No, it's just Mr. Hoy. The bomb actually is in apartments. Mr. Hoy going to maybe hope to come in from behind. Panics though. He manages to get the bomb down. He does get 2. In the meantime, Angus M has a very real chance in this round. Mr. Hoy on 87 HP. It doesn't matter so much against the AWP. I think if he does leg him, it isn't going to kill. Just hoping that maybe there's an extension from Mr. Hoy, who's been so good this game. He sees the back of him and hoping for a swing. He gets the kill, and there we go. Rush B take it to 7. At least the deficit's not quite as much as it looks, and if they do get a couple more than this, it's going to look very respectable moving forward, and there's always a chance that they take their next map. I know that we've talked about Vertigo. I'm just going to maybe allude to it a little bit more, but Vertigo, you know, they're going to be on the CT side, and there will always be a chance that they take it if they do manage to get onto that map in good form. So they're hoping probably to get a string of 2 or 3 rounds together and come forward looking a little bit better, because 8 in a row is going to be a very tough ask for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. But 4 out of the last 5, it's not looking too bad. Looking better than the T half, right? It's looking better than the first half.
Yeah.
So that's already an improvement. And now UW, they've got a very ragtag buy, half buy with pistols, and Rush B, they can't lose this because that's going to be very, very demoralizing. And Suitably so far handled well. Panic's gunning down 2 of them, looking for 3, and he actually makes the headshot. Tags down the 4th, pulls out the USB, looking for the ace. But unfortunately for him, Bever is just running away. He's fleeing the scene, doesn't want to get caught. It's easy picked up, and Bever now is looking to probably just try and do a bit of economic damage. And he will spray a bit at Panix, but Panix is having absolutely none of it. Sprays out with the CZ from actually one of Bever's dead teammates and takes the ace. Not bad for him, certainly good for confidence for him individually.
The B-bomb site is not for sale, they say. We want to keep it. And like the Empire, they strike back. 8 rounds now on the board. They're looking actually very good on the CT side. It gives me confidence moving into the next map that maybe they will be able to take it, especially with the way that they've looked. I mean, though UWE C-Stags finally get a good buyout, this may be the end of it all if they do manage to get the first kill early on in the round. Of course, speaking very, very early on, we're only 15 seconds in, so there is, you know, it can go either way. Although that smoke has been completely missed in towards ramp, there is always a chance that a player does peek out and catch somebody on stairs if somebody isn't checking this angle. But Crit not playing with it, thinking maybe that it's a one-way for one of these players. Riv in charge of stopping them pushing up aggressively, and decides to just hide in Mr. Hoy's position under Palace and hoping to have as much of an impact as he did on the previous half.
Looks like they're going for just a bit of a contact play here, and Riv is caught completely off. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for him, he somehow stays alive, but not for much longer, as Angus is now getting dinged up through the edge of the box. PK will get a kill, and so will Xnate with that orb. Gets one, but just gets spammed down by Mr. Hoy in that predictable angle he's playing again. As Angus will take down one, Panic as well, leaving Crit by himself in a 1v3. And if there's a player to do it, it certainly is Crit, but with fire at his feet, it's certainly heating up for him. Down to half HP, somehow takes down Panic's first though. On a 1v2, PK is actually pushing him. He's not letting him get nestled or just resting at all. Runs straight at him, takes the fight to him, and it works out. I mean, that's smart from him. Smart from him.
I mean, they aren't letting it sit. You'd think that these players, when they're losing this heavily going into the second half, that they'd be a bit more apprehensive, that they would be scared moving forward. But clearly, they know UWE C-Stags well. They feel confident enough to keep it up. And, well, this is exactly what we want to see from this team. This is exactly what we want. We want these players to stay in the same sort of mind frame. I think Trent Thunderdiamond, when we were doing the last sort of season of Newell, when they were in the final, they kind of fell apart more than they ever have before. But Rush B, they look pretty good at the moment. The Molotov as well, getting 2 on short with Panics in and around the apartments. He gets one more for himself, and well, the second as well. Complete control of B apartments. Rush B take it to double digits, and well, we thought maybe this map would be ending quickly, but Rush B did not.
Very measured and actually nicely done. Oh, he said at the start, I said at the start, about how I want them to have this good T-side and want to get the trades. Obviously, it completely fell apart, but on the CT side, they're just doing what they want to do, right? They're doing what they do best, and that's just holding down these sites, getting these multi-kills and locking them out, and that's nice to see. Rush B showing some glimmers of hope. And also to point out, I mean, we said about weaker players. Matt A is sort of the one weaker player on the UWE roster. 9 kills. He's the only guy who isn't at 20, at least. Magic on 20, Crit 22, Bever and Mr. Hoy on 23 each. They're all performing. Matt, not so much. But maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe the rest of them can carry him through as we do get to the 26th round and they're pushing straight in. And Bever and Mr. Hoy, they're fragging out once again. 2 kills for 1 as Mr. Hoy just continues. He gets another one. Xnave going down. PK trying to spray back, and this is going to be a very big ask for them to try and retake. Panics does kick it off in pretty good fashion, does get the first, but they have to flush out quite a few players here. They've got 2 at Tetris and, well, Mr. High in Palace, and he takes 1 more, eventually getting shut down by PK 1v2. He's got the kits, but he has no more nades. He starts taking off the silencer, realizes that's a mistake, and is trying to fight them. Will throw the nade in deep, but he doesn't realize Bevet is already in sandwich, and he will get taken down. 16-10 is the final score on Mirage. UWE take the victory.
UWE2 take the victory. That first map falling in favor of them, taking it 2-0 so far in the best of 5 series, means that the final map, well, could well be the next map in the end, 2-0, and there's always a chance that we see nothing more after the next map. But Ginny, I'll just let you close out for us.
Woo, what a game. I knew I said it was going to be 16-13. I got really close. So, you know, in terms of that prediction, that was pretty good, but what an absolute beast of a performance coming through from both teams, to be completely honest. Rush B, you know, a little wonky at the start, but afterwards they hit the ground running. They were able to close in that gap, and we're now gonna be going to the next map. That will be Vertigo. So specifically that map, okay? We've already seen how well they have done here, and you kind of alluded at it yourself, Zach. We're going to Vertigo. There is a possibility here for them to secure the win. Do you think with the last couple of rounds, that performance that we've seen, they just like press that W key? Do you think it's possible?
I mean, it's changed my mind really what we've just seen, because they were so strong on the CT side, Rush B, and we've seen other teams when they play against UWE, they look completely different. They look scared playing further back. It's like when teams play against, you know, like top teams like Na'Vi, right? A lot of teams just disappear and go kind of. They default to playing around what the other team's doing rather than playing their own strat book. Rush B, they didn't do that. They played their own strat book. It didn't work for them on T side, unfortunately, but on CT side, it definitely did. And if they do get Vertigo, and if they do get that CT side off early to a quick advance, we could see a completely different game.
Yeah, and we're going to be going to break first. You know, I feel like everyone deserves a break after that one because that was an incredible performance. So we'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Love
Much, you hate us.
Welcome back, gamers, to game number 2 of new CSGO Spring 2022 Finals. Still on the desk with us today. We got Zach, we got Anton, and let's take it back a little. Let's talk about last game. What happened there? I want to say specifically for UWE C-Stacks, because they looked so strong. But then they didn't. So yes, they take the win. They already had quite an advantage in terms of rounds. So by the time, Rush B started feeling themselves, it wasn't quite enough. But what went wrong in those rounds?
Honestly, I think it was just Rush B playing their own game, right? I think it was just them finally getting together. They've got their CT route, their CT side sort of thing, and they're thinking, yeah, let's just do this. We can get these kills. I can just hit my shots. Whereas on the D side, they were looking wobbly, they were looking weak. They didn't really make too many strong decisions. And obviously, we didn't see too many rounds result because of that. Whereas on the CT side, they were confident, they were strong, they hit those shots, they were making those plays, they were pushing forward into apartments, they were pushing through, rounds to the ramp sort of thing, using their nades and hitting their nades. And as we saw, they got quite a few rounds back. So it worked out in the end, and that's exactly what they need to do in this next map.
I can't disagree, really. You're completely correct. I mean, they just looked the better side when they were on that CT side. I mean, UWE looked completely outclassed for that second half, I'm not going to lie. And so, watching it, you kind of almost forgot that they were, UWE were on 14 or match point for that whole half, pretty much. So, it was a very different kind of experience to watch. I don't think I've ever really seen that. Teams just getting demolished 1 second and then all of a sudden they seem just so good. I mean, it really throws into kind of up in the air exactly what we're going to see on Vertigo, because, 1 second I thought, oh, well, this is just going to be, very much UWE winning this one out. And then next second, kind of Rush B have made me look like a bit of an idiot. And, they've said, we're actually a very good team. You can see it on our CT half, and you're gonna see it on our Vertigo CT half as well. So, I hope we'll see that, well, right? Yeah. Because if we do see that and we see them play around that A ramp, as well as they probably should, and around mid as well as they should, a strong player on B like Panic, I think it was, that was doing a really
solid on Mirage,
on Mirage B site, then we could see a very, very different story next map.
Yeah, it looks like once the script got flipped, they upgraded their intel in their computers and they just went off the roofs. But let's talk about the next map that we're heading into. You kind of alluded at the strengths coming through from Rush B, and let's talk about the first half, of the next map specifically. Because if we're being honest, if Rush B doesn't manage to take next map, they're out. Like, that's it. Their run is over. So they were strong, last half of last map. And now going into the next one, Anton, what are you expecting?
I'm expecting them to have some fight, right? They've got. I hope someone there is giving them a pep talk, saying, "Right, lads, we're down 2 maps. We've got nothing to lose. We've got to fight here. We've got to fight. We've got to show something,
No one could see that. No one could see it.
I can't even remember what I was talking about. Yeah,
it was
pep talks. Pep talks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've got to have a pep talk, thinking we've got nothing to lose. We had a pretty solid CT side on Mirage. Let's have a solid CT side on Vertigo. Let's come into this. Let's shut them down exactly the same way that they did to us, and let's try and fight for this and put on a show for the people, right?
Hold on a minute. So that's your pep talk? That's the best pep talk you got?
That's not. I hope the coach is doing something like that. That's not my pep talk.
Zach, it's on you. Give us the pep talk right as we're going to be heading into game.
Oh my word.
Let's go. Do it.
Right. You've got this, Rush B. You can take this one on the final map. You just need a really strong CT side, and you've got this. There's no problem. UWE, who's even heard of them before? It's Rush B all over.
Well,
I love it.
I think that was a really, really good pep talk. Anton, you're just gonna leave it at that?
Let's go, boys. Let's go. You know what?
Let's go.
Walk in there. It is a point-and-click adventure, CSGO. Okay, you walk in there,
click
you
heads.
tap heads. That's all you need to do, and that's all they need to do.
Okay,
They've got this, I believe.
Okay, guys, click heads, not feet. Stay in school. Do your homework. There you go. That's my pep talk coming through. Thank you very much. I think we're all really good at giving some pep. So if you guys want a mental health coach, we got Noah. We got the 3 of us. We're all. You can hire us as a trio, as a quadret. Is that even a word?
Quartet.
Or you can just hire, quartet. There you go. Thank you so much. English is really difficult today. Or you can, hire individual casters here. But we're gonna be heading into game right now. Hopefully that pep talk does some good. Take it away. We're not going to be heading into game. We're going to be, we're just like walking a little back here. Game is not fully ready yet. So pep talks are ready. I think we did a really good job.
Yeah. I hope they're watching that.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, they're not allowed to watch the stream, right? So we're pep talking Twitch chat at this point, right?
Okay, Twitch chat. That was a really good pep talk for you guys as well. Just to use it for your solo queue for your.
Just insert your name instead of Rush B.
Make a GIF out of it. Some pretty good content we got going on here on the desk.
Get an audio clip of it, and just take it, put in your name, listen to it, wake up in the morning, just you hear you shouting it, let's go, boys, let's
set
go.
as your alarm.
Carpe diem, let's go. You can win this. You're down 2-0. Come into the first map and smash them.
The only reason you're going to wake up in the morning then, just so you can switch off your alarm.
Yes, exactly that.
Shut up.
No, before we head into game though, we talk about pep talks. Let's talk about predictions. Mine was pretty close last time, but I'm going to start off with Ant here. Prediction, really quickly.
Oh, me? Yes. Prediction, I'm going to be optimistic for Rush B. 16-13.
16, Rush B. They're going to take it.
16 Rush, you're going to take it. Well, we're going to be finding it out as we're heading into game. Casters, good luck out there. Good luck to both teams, and let the action begin.
Well, thank you very much. And we jump in very, very quickly into Rush B and UWE seat stags on the pistol round. They're already here, already backing away. Rush B already forced onto the back foot. They've completely lost mid-control. Mr. Hoy coming in from either angle to take the A bomb site. It's been opened up. Angus M, though, he's not going to let it sit. Gets 2 from the scaffolding. Mate in no man's land. And Rush B have turned it back on its head. Within 2 seconds, we've gone left, we've gone right. And Rush B pick up the pistol round.
More specifically, Angus at 3K, beautiful play, pushing up short, getting the first kill, tapping exploding. There you go, just look at the precision, beautiful. Slaps him straight down. Matt's looking for the kill and he can't even find it, he just finds death. And that is what we need. We need precision, we need head tapping, and that's exactly what Angus gives us, and now we need to see more of it. And they cannot lose this. If they lose this, I'm going to lose my mind. They need to have a nice, secure, second round. If they lose this, their economy's in the bin, so they have to take it slowly, and logically they shouldn't, because UWE don't really have very good weapons. They've got Deagles and 2 of them, so obviously there's always a chance that they can lose their heads over it, but play their own game, play it sensibly, and that looks to be what they're doing. Nothing aggressive at the ramp at the moment, nothing aggressive in mid or even at B. Just 3 guys sitting on A, patiently waiting.
I'm surprised by that, really, because usually that smoke does go down in order to facilitate a push on towards ramp. I mean, that is the whole point of it. Xnave getting a nice little kill on towards Mr. Hoy, and Panic as well, picking up one of his own. Magic, though, gets the head of two players pushing forward. PK needs to chime in, as Angus did on the other round, and well, he does. He gets both of them that are here. Bever in towards mid, manages to keep this round not from being very clean as well. Riv has lost his head. He's got the Zeus in his hand, hoping that the player pushes in. Please don't see this again. I don't want to see this again. Rush B playing it smart, though. They know they've got the bomb, and they're just holding the angle. Bever, he's trying to bait it out. He pulls out the Zeus at a very inopportune time. Loses his head for it. And, well, that's the overconfidence being completely slammed back in his face, and deservedly so.
A mild amount of tomfoolery will not occur within this round. Not forever. But, well, lovely strike back from Magic. But PK, he made the plays. That's exactly what we need to see. As soon as they start losing some ground, he pushes out, catches them looking all the wrong way, beautifully shuts them down. And that is exactly what we need. And we need to see more of it up until they get 16 rounds, 16-0, exactly as Zach said. But, well, that's quite a few rounds away, as we do actually see a boost being brought out. That's lovely to see. Xnave seeing straight through, and this is a very nice position, and I'm wondering if UWE are going to check it. I feel like they won't be. But at this point in time, well, you could still get at least one kill, but that would be the equalizer as Panics does go down. They're waiting a long time, eventually sees one, and eventually does
two.
Oh, two, what? Somehow getting two, that's unbelievable, but beautiful all the same. Take the man advantage. The smokes are down for UWE, and they can get to the site, and they can plant safely. But the retake should be pretty solid, or it should be at least prepared for Rush B. They're all here and waiting.
That's such a good nade on Bever as well on the site. 22 HP left. And that AK, while it can do one-shot headshots, it also can die to one shot in the body from one of these M4s when he's on HP as low as he is, especially in this aggressive position. Players converging in and around, all from CT. It just depends how the fight gets taken. Riv picks up one, Angus with another of his own.
God,
Magic,
no.
though, he gets three! This isn't going to happen. PK in a 1 versus 1 from a 4 versus 1. Magic, all he has to do is get this last kill in order to win it. The bomb gets tapped. PK, though, he gets the kill. He does have time. He certainly has time.
Yeah.
They managed to win this one, Rush B, but my God, that was close.
Crikey, mate. That is unbelievable. There you go. There's a double kill coming through, but Magic, they just line up for him. You can't do that, because you do that, he will get the spray, as he just did, and he puts a 4v1 into a 1v1. And not, obviously they do, luckily, get the win in the end, Rush B, but that's a very expensive round, losing 3 players just to one guy. You can't make those mistakes, because next time Magic, you know what, maybe just be a bit quicker and win that 1v1. Either way, obviously getting the bomb plant and doing a lot of damage, they're forcing into this. There's absolutely diddly squat utility for the T side. They've got 1 HE and 1 smoke left, and that is it. So I have no idea how they're going to be trying to get into a site with this, but brute force, I guess, is their option.
Seems to be the only option that they've got. Rush B, though, they aren't playing into the middle, staying very passive, although Xnave and Panics, they go down. Mr. Hoy, he gets 3. Angus M finally comes in and gets one of his own, but a 4 versus 2 on the retake, this isn't going to be easy. Rush B as well, they've used a lot of their utility early on. The Molotovs, the nades, they've completely disappeared. They've kind of been a little bit on the back foot in terms of the economy. The CT economy famously frail. Angus M can't get any more. Riv 1 and 2, 7 ATR. He'd need to really, quadruple that at least. I mean, it's going to be way more than quadruple, right? He's going to need to times it by 10 in order to win this round. And, well, I don't think he fancies his chances with 3 players left alive. Well, sorry, 4 players, actually. Rush B, they bow out of this one, and they aren't going to be able to buy in the next. It's going to be a force buy. All of these players, you can see on the left just how low they are. Angus M on $400, Xnave on 0. It's going to equalize to about, what, 1,800 coming into this next? 1,700, right? So it's not going to be very good. They're certainly going to struggle if they do decide to force. Well, you'd expect that they do when they've got as little money as they have, Mr. Hoy, just to completely demolishing them. It's kind of almost exactly what we saw from Magic.
Exactly that. Just the individual prowess and skill just coming through. Crit hasn't even got a frag yet. He's going 0-0 for 3. I don't think he'll go James Bond quite yet, but he's not needed to get a kill. And instead it's been Magic Mr. Hoy. And that's, as I said, you can't see that in the kill feed. You can't see Mr. Hoy just walking to the site and killing 3 guys. I said there isn't util. It's not even like he got, they flashed him in and then he did something wacky. He just walked in and headshot them all. That can't happen. You cannot do that. You can't let them do that. And that's, I mean, I guess is a bit of a fault on Rush B, but you've just got to be quick. I guess they weren't expecting the contact play. Maybe they were expecting an eco, or maybe perhaps Galils with nades instead, but
I mean,
just ruins it.
at the same time, you know, you can allow those kind of freak 3Ks to come through. I think we saw, I believe it was Savage at ESL Pro League was talking about how, you know, when players just go off, and I believe he's talking about Rain at the time, there's nothing you can do. You just lose because they are better than you. They are getting headshots sometimes, and when those headshots come through, there's not really much you can do. Now, there isn't quite the discrepancy in play there. Obviously, Rush B and UWC Stags, I honestly believe they are a bit more closely matched than those two teams. But at the same time, when you've got ESL Prem level players, in a lot of these guys in Magic, in Mr. Hoy, sometimes that just happens. And so you just have to cope with it and know that, you know, occasionally you are going to lose a round to players holding it, but stay playing tight and stay playing in the same way that you were, because it was clearly working for them being 3-1. PK going around this smoke, it's not well positioned. Mr. Hoy picks it up, swinging for another one as well. X-Nave does manage to get the kill with the headshot, and well, Riv gets 2. He's been a player that's been struggling a little bit, but not anymore. And the bomb, I believe, is dropped all the way down on the bottom of ramp. They may be able to pick this one up. Mate in a very heated exchange with Riv and goes down to only 16 HP. X-Nave in a very good spot, though, to get the kill on Magic. The American not expecting for him to be pushing through. The bomb is down, a minute on the clock for Matt, but 18 HP, or 17 HP rather. It is certainly not going to be an easy time for him. He
needs to fall down and let him die. But I was going to say, I hope he does that, but X-Nave is already holding it, and he's actually going to be sneaking around to the stairs. 45 seconds left on the clock. He has got a good chance, but X-Nave has got to be aware not to get shot in the back. And he is quick. He doesn't get caught out. He nails Mate. A 3K for him, 2K for Rivtris. And honestly, I was getting worried there. I was going to add on to what you were saying. You've got guys like Crit, like Magic, who go against some of the best players in Europe, right? They're playing in their spare time against just phenomenal players. And these guys, some of these maybe don't even play ESEA, or if they do, you know, sort of simple open teams. Yet here they are, pound for pound, taking it to them. X-Nave just beautifully demonstrating exactly why they are here in the final. And that is so good to see. 4-1, UWE trying to force back into this, and their economy is not too bad. They do have a nice amount of nades here. And Rush, they've got to constantly be on their own toes. And, well, Riv is. He takes down Magic expecting that boost and asserts dominance, taking that first skill, getting that man advantage.
And this is the strong B hold that I was talking about. Riv, he's looking very good at the moment. He didn't have the best start, but getting that kill on ramp and looking very competent in his hold. He's called for a teammate to rotate over that UWE are hoping to exploit. The boy just drops at the wrong time there, Crit. And his bad luck, it gets even worse. Norton 4 so far, 2 ADR, which is really astoundingly low. Crit, though, does manage to get the kill on Panics, picks up his first kill of the round. The Caster's Curse coming in full force there. The UWE C-Stags tying this one out in terms of the number of players still alive. And, well, CT has been opened up. He's going to be able to get this kill unless he whiffs. Mate, he's looked into the back of the wrong player. PK as well has pushed him behind. I mean, UWE, they had to get that kill. And the rotate is allowed to come through as X-Nave starts pushing through on towards this position that we've seen them abuse so many times on the scaffolding. Gets another kill on Crit. Mr. Hoy hoping for more kills in the meantime. Bever, though, gets 2! Rivtris, he's left alone in a 1 versus 1. Mr. Hoy, as low as he is, 32 HP, 24 seconds of the round, just spraying through the smoke. He knows where the player is, but with 19 seconds left on the clock, it can go either way, but Rivtris takes it! Rush B, 5-1 up, and that one was very, very tense.
There we go, finally. We are borrowing weeklies from the same blockbuster. We've got it going, boys. We've got it going. I'm actually hyped for Rush B. So close. Mate somehow whiffing there in a shot he definitely should have got, but fires at the edge of it, and obviously gets punished from behind by PK King, and all the rest is just... I mean, we saw it. It's history, right? Just kills back and forth. Finally, X-Nave just proving his worth on shot, swinging out. I think he got a 3K in that round. And it's just, it's working out. And finally, UWE, their bank is broken and they're pushed back. They're onto pistols, and it's just duck hunt for Panics. He gets 2 kills, pushes through the smoke, getting almost a third, but Mr. Hoy has other plans. PK is sitting alive at short position, getting 1, but finished off by Mr. Hoy. And actually, we're in a 2-on-2, which is slightly more expensive than perhaps Rush B would have liked, but still, it's not over just yet.
These smokes on mid-site, I mean, you know, standard, very normal smokes to go down, but Rush B consistently pushing through them and struggling with them. In the meantime, Magic whiffing a little bit on those shot. He's given himself away. He doesn't have any ammo left, but he's still somehow playing around this smoke. He's hardly taken any damage. He still had a chance. Riv loses out. Angus, though, picks up the kill. Rush B playing with fire in that round. But as I was saying, the smokes are going down and they're really struggling with them. Now their passive hold is being exploited a bit more by UWE. And there's always a chance that this one can go very much in the other direction. There is individual brilliance on the C-Stacks, but now they're getting the tactical brilliance in as well. And this is going to be very difficult to play against if they don't start changing it up soon. Because I really do believe that this is going to go... the tide is turning very much in favor of, you know, a completely different looking map at the moment. It just depends how it gets done. And Magic as well picks up the AWP for the first time in this map. It's going to be something that he enjoys. This
boost again.
Nice little boost coming through once again. It has been checked, though, by UWE for the past couple of rounds.
There's 2 different boosts
so
there
there's
as well.
always a chance. There are 2 boosts in that position, but they've been checking them both pretty vigilantly at the moment. Angus just peeking in towards mid and moves away at a very inopportune time as they start pushing forward. The boost comes through. 2 players here. Magic on the AWP. It actually may have been better that he's backed away because he almost certainly would have lost out in that exchange without some extreme luck. The AWP, of course, is a one-shot body shot. Meanwhile, the AK absolutely is not. And well, PK has been pushed away from that boost, going down to only 24 HP. Bever just hoping that a player maybe peeks into him. Crit as well, playing in and around this Molotov, and he's been hit by the molly. They're going to hear this one, Rush B, and they are hoping that he pushes in a little bit more aggressively. But PK, he's gone too aggro. He knows he's low on HP, but he's gone too much into that one. And well, UWE with the bomb still in hand, they are able to start looking towards the A bomb site. The bomb has started rotating over in the form of Magic, but Rush B are doing some rotations of their own if you look at that map in the top left.
What we need to see, right, we didn't see it last round, is the usage of their utility. I say that, we've only got 1 flash on Rush B. What you need to do, right, when you're waiting for these guys to push, you try to get these kills, but then if they're going for the plant, you throw in your HEs, you throw in your mollies, you stop the plant, you do damage. At this point in time, they can't do that. Instead, they're getting naded down. A bit of spray coming through does a bit of damage into mid-time, but no kills found. X-Navy just still boosting up, standing there, doing more damage, but again, no kills found. 4v5 retake, do they go for this?
I think it looks like they're saving. They don't have the economy to go for it, and even though there are 2 players on a combined health of 40, they just back away. 17 HP on X-Nave, and really doing the right thing. If you look at the money that they have, they aren't going to be able to afford in towards the next round. And while calls like this, they might look... You know, to somebody that's kind of watching this for the first time or not really into CS and the economy of CS and how it's managed, it might look a little bit silly saving 4 people alive and not going for the 5 versus 4. They can't see how much health the enemy team has, unlike us. They can't see the X-ray either. And, well,
believe it or not.
they know that really it's better to play the long term rather than go for this round, kind of playing really against the odds doing the retake. Instead, it's better to play a little bit less against the odds into the next round. While they are going to have worse utility and worse weaponry, they've got a little bit more to work with, and I believe this is a technical pause coming out from one of these 2 teams. Yeah, it is. Okay. Rush B just calling a technical pause. We've had one of the players leave the server. They will be back in just a second. I believe there's just a little bit of lag that they're experiencing. It will not take long for them to be back in the server.
Yeah, to carry on from your point about saving, right? So you've got 4 guys. 4 versus 5, like re-attacking a site from the CT side, that isn't fun at all. That's not favourable, especially when you have no utility. I think they had 1 flash, and I think even he used it. That's not going to happen. You haven't got the smokes to cover your defuse. You haven't got the mollies to flush them out. That's not going to happen. Whereas, you know, saving all these weapons, because if not, they would have had to just either go for some, you know, half-weird pistol buy. But now they can have the, you know, the 5th player buying maybe a Deagle, maybe an MP9, the rest of them picking up nades, and they can actually go for a proper decent buy and have a good attempt, you know, for a 5v5, a decent chance. Obviously, you do concede around on the scoreline, but 6-2, it's not so, you know, too much an issue at this point in time. And overall, it's the smart choice to make, really. And that point in time, I'm glad they called it earlier, because if they were a second later, that smoke would have faded, and I think it was Magic with the AWP. Yeah, he would have shot one of the guys retreating from the boosted position. So I'm glad they made it there, rather than thinking, oh, do we, don't we, what do we do? They said, you know what? We're saving, fall off. They all fall back. They all 4 of them save the guns, and it's a happy end. Well, not a happy ending because the skyscraper technically
they lost.
blew up. But all 4 stayed alive. They got to go on the helicopter, fly off and see their kids again until this round, in which case they're back in the
Deployed straight back into the
Straight
action.
back in, exactly.
Yeah, it's a really brutal world, the world of CS. A lot of people die. But anyway.
Too many.
Yeah. Still, I think that Rush B, I was saying this before, I kind of spoke about it, and while we've got time in the pause to speak about this, I think that UWE are chiming on to the fact that they aren't pushing aggressively down sort of down
I
ramp.
love that so much. No explosions, no tank tops or shorts.
Yeah. I mean, the T's completely ignoring everything on there, right? Almost all of it.
Yeah, they are actually.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, maybe they're doing illicit substances. Who knows? Who knows?
There's a chance, right? But anyway, we're not Cloud9, and anyway, just looking at this, I think that they need to take the ramp control, right? Rush B and kind of, they're playing very passive on the site, and now it's become a little bit more of a struggle for them in terms of holding these different angles and like holding from the site. The 2 smokes are going down, and then they have to play retake. And they've thrown so much already on towards the ramp and on towards B in mid as well. They don't really have the utility to take it back, and we saw it in the 4 versus 5. We're seeing it in the 5 versus 3s even when they're pushing on towards the site, and when players are having great rounds. Rush B actually very much on the UWE side of things now. They look like they've got the better individual players that we're seeing right now. But I think what we need to see is Molotovs in and around. I love this smoke, by the way. But we need to see Molotovs in and around the sort of ramp position on the smoke, so that they can push a little bit more aggressively on ramp. And while they haven't been doing that, they this time have gambled towards A. And well, UWE Sea Stags, they're gambling towards B. So it's very much on either end of things, and while they're going to work it out now that there is nothing here, and as that is happening simultaneously across the other side of the map, the Sea Stags start taking the B bomb site, and this may well end up being yet another save, because all that utility has been expended, unless PK can get a couple of kills on towards the bomb site. Manages to get 1 as he pushes through aggressively on the smoke. He's hoping for more as well. Gets the head off of Magic. The AUE completely disappears from the round, unless the player can pick it up fairly quickly. Crit just playing a little bit more aggressive as well, in a cheekily aggressive position. Rush B just waiting for these smokes to fade. They do have the kits, so they don't even have the kits. They can't really wait for the time. I thought maybe they did, but they're still pushing forward very, very slowly. There's not enough time. Riv gets a kill. In the meantime, it's Xnave in a 1 versus 1, and well, without any time on the clock, there's almost no way that he can win this, right? There's no chance. He's pushing forward anyway to hope for the kills, but there's nobody facing him at this point. Playing in and around the generator at this time. Gets the kill on towards Crit, but no time left on the clock. Decides to push away. At least a decent amount of economic damage done on the Rush B side of things. But at the same time, put in a very desolate spot themselves. And well, UWE Sea Stags are certainly going to be able to buy in towards the next one.
It was a nice attempt at the retake, but just very disjointed. Right? No kits means that they couldn't really wait out these smokes. Obviously, Xnade came from behind, but perhaps a bit too late, as all the rest of his teammates had died. So at that point in time, a bit too disjointed. But I mean, they're sort of minor issues. It was very well defended from UWE. The usage of their smokes was fantastic, because they didn't really have to use them to get into it, because Rush B just had 1 guy there with an eagle, and that was it. So nicely played from both teams, to be honest. But well, we're into the next round, and 5 guys. They're pushing straight through mid, and we're not talking about burgers, we're talking about death with AKs. And PK's trying to strike back. He has a little deagle of his own, but they're just chasing him down. Crit getting his 2nd kill of the round, down low, and Mr. Hoy's trying to push through. He gets taken down, but Crit gets his 3rd. Xnave in the corner can do absolutely nothing, and neither can Panics. They get absolutely dismantled 1 by 1, and UWE take their 4th round with, well, quite a lot of ease and very rapidly.
I think this is one of those maps as well where the CTs really do dictate the pace early on. And well, they aren't dictating the pace at the moment, Rush B. They were earlier on, but now they've kind of lost that a little bit, although they were only on an eco round in last. So this is finally one where kind of all or nothing for them. We will likely see it go to 6-6 if they don't take this round. And well, the player just spamming down on towards the B bomb site. The flash as well is going to catch him out just that little bit on Magic, who's been forced to back away somewhat. PK playing in and around this along with his teammate in Panics the Molotov. It's far too late. Rush B have managed to trade 2 for 1 on towards the ramp. Magic in the meantime gets the kill on towards Riv on B, and the bomb is now finally rotating over Magic as well, getting yet another kill on towards Angus, pushing forward. The bomb rotating forward. Bever, though, still sticking around on the A bomb site. The bomb is, I mean, kind of in two minds whether he's going to go towards B or A. He's kind of just looking in and around the T-bomb site. If you look on the map at the moment, it's a little bit difficult to see. He's finally going towards B. Xnave hearing this one, calling it to his teammate, who starts rotating over in PK. Xnave perfectly positioned to potentially get 2 kills in this round. PK, all he needs to do is get, a little bit of information. Beautiful. Xnave does get both kills. PK, he's just waiting for the player to start pushing forward. In Bever, he knows that the player's here. He's dropped down, and Rush B, they take the round. UWE, they fall apart from the flank. A very nice one from Xnave. 7-4, at least UWE able to buy up in the next round and at least keep it a little competitive moving forward.
When you're saying PK and Xnave, it just makes me think he's speaking pig Latin. But it is not. It is the players in the server, and beautifully done from Xnave. That's what I want to see, and that's what we are seeing. That's what we saw a fair bit of Mirage. We just didn't get to see too much of it, right? So that aggression, he pushes through mid, and he goes, oh, hello. A cheeky bit of a behind to attack, and, well, he expertly does it. You're right there.
He does indeed. You got me with that one, my word. UWE, they are still in with a chance in this round, though. As I said last round, they are able to buy up. And while Rush B have adapted on the A-bomb site, they have gone a little bit more aggressive, but they're using a lot of utility when nobody's here. And that's the converse side of things, is that this is exactly what can happen. You can throw a load of smokes and molotovs down the ramp, and people can just sit in behind them in T-spawn and then late round go into things. But Xnave and Panic's getting 2 kills. Riv as well, caught out by Magic. Magic had no right to miss out on that kill. He really should have got it. Crit finally gets the kill on the A-bomb site, or the B-bomb site, I should say. And the bomb gets opened up a little bit. Angus trading 1-for-1. The bomb starts going down. And Rush B in a 2 versus 1. They need to play this one together. They aren't. Crit, he's facing them one by one. Why have they pushed in like that? UWE pick it up, but they're facing one by one, and they're losing it out of their own futility of just doing that.
Honestly, questionable. Crit, he was very, very slow start, and then halfway through the round, he starts to come alive. He gets the 2 kills, opening it, but then, as you say, they just peek him one by one. He just drops out. One of the players, I don't know who it was, just dropping out in the open, and obviously Crit's just going to take him down straight away. And, I mean, that's the result. GW win a round that really should have been Rush B's, and unfortunately it isn't. Crit just takes it. Mr. Hoy just running straight in, getting 2 kills, but Crit getting 2 back with a P250 nonetheless, which is somewhat odd, but I guess it works. And with that, they do halt the attack on A, but Magic's pushed all the way through B, and Evil gets 2 kills just about, struggling a bit with the end with PK, but he gets the job done. 7-6, they are closing the gap, but considering Vertigo can have some very monstrous T-sides, Rush B are doing a pretty solid job on the CT, and quite a few of these rounds could have been there, so it could be a bigger lead for them.
Coulds don't equal rounds, though, unfortunately, and if they do lose this one, 16-14, unfortunately all those half rounds that they should have won don't translate to actual wins, and well, at the same time, they're hoping for 8 or 9 here. They're not going to check in towards sandbags, which they've been playing rather a lot. A good swing coming out from these players. The Molotov perfect, though. Crit does eventually get a kill in return. Bever playing in and around the scaffolding. He's hoping that the player pushes in too aggressively. He gets 1. Xnave has gone very, very aggro. The player in Bever is stuck in the scaffolding, 19 HP. And he's not in a very good spot. Xnave just sprays through the wall, and well, Rush B do get that 8th round that I said that they wanted, and they're going to feel very good about that. If they do lose this next round, it doesn't matter. They've still won the half.
What we're seeing, well, I'm seeing at least, so much from Rush B is just flashes of brilliance and then flashes of just questionable decisions, right? That ramp push, 3 guys swinging out, beautiful, and obviously Molly's as well and stuff, so they're taking it, they just completely destroy the T-push. That is brilliant, but then they know one guy's alley, one person hops and tries to fight him, then another guy swings out, I think it was Xnave right at the end, swinging out trying to get that kill, but then obviously here's the guy behind him. If he didn't realise the guy behind him was there, he could get taken down. It's a 2-on-2. That shouldn't happen when you've already taken the advantage, right? It's just a questionable decision that shouldn't happen. Missed smokes as well, obviously, aren't the best, but it's so frustrating to watch sometimes, but they are making it work. As you said, it's 8 rounds now, and Rush B, they do take control of this half, but hoping to get that 9th round and get a bit more secure in their CT side. But Critzy has other ideas, but Angus has even more ideas as he pushes through. Riptris has his back. Mr. Hoy taking down the aggressive push, but PK striking back. taking down 2 of them. Matt A left by himself. Final round of the half, no point saving, but it's the weakest player on the T side with only a Deagle. I don't think he's really got too much of a chance here unless he pulls off an absolute miracle.
A miracle he will need. 5 and 11 so far, and a miracle he does not get. Xnave strikes him down before he can do anything. His head just disappears like a magic trick. Abracadabra, it's gone. And I do want to highlight something quickly. It's not about the teams that we're watching, but more about our observer, Simba. I have to say, he is very good with his comedic timing on some of these smokes. Just watching them up in completely wrong spots. And, you know, if you do want to check him out, just !talent in the chat. You will be able to see all of Simba's socials. He's a great guy, and that was particularly funny early on in the round, just giving us a little bit of a replay of what we've seen in the half. Rush B put on towards the T side, 9-6 up, and hoping for a very quick start to this one. It starts off well with Bever dropped down to 50 HP, just needs one more headshot on him to take him down, and well, PK picks that one up. The mid area has been opened up within 20 seconds, and Rush B just decide, you know what, we'll back away, we'll give it up, we'll make UWEC Stags overthink it. And while I was talking about 1-for-1 trades being good, 1-for-0 is remarkably better.
Infinitely so.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, if you go all the mathsy route and all that jazz. But anyway, as you say, they do drop back and just leave mids. But that does get UWE questioning, as now they have a rotation coming across. They've got a player pushing up short, and he gets immediately eliminated by PK. But there's now 2 players rotating across onto the site. One of them is Crit, and he'll get 1 kill, and the other one is Matt. Crit does go down to PK, though, on an absolute rampage so far. Matt will fall back somewhat and play a bit more defensively, trying to get a bit of a peek if anyone does present themselves. But so far, nobody. 3v2. Matt pushing in now his teammates here, and he's tapping heads. Finally finding a bit of form. And now it's down to Xnave by himself in a 1v2. Currently, there isn't a kit on either of the T or CT players, sorry, and Xnave is actually baiting them into trying to take the fight as he falls all the way back, trying to stay alive, and falling backwards. He just spams the Glock, hits the headshot, and he gets a 2K again, and he has been absolutely fantastic this map. 18 kills, top of his team, top of the scoreboard. What a play. That's audacious, but it works out.
It doesn't just work out, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous to watch, it's great. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that UWEC Stags could do there. He's just on form, he's feeling good, all of them really are, and well, they go on to double digits really, well, for the second time this series, but for the first time this game, and they're looking very, very good. I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up taking this map and we do get to see Ancient. Although, I'm speaking maybe a little bit too soon. Of course, we're only on the second round of the second half. If you are only just joining us, Rush B 10-6 up, UWEC Stags 2-0 in a best-of-5 series. This is all to play for here for both UWEC Stags to take this one and Rush B to stay in the competition. It's all to play for. And, well, Rush B taking this round slow.
Very, very slow, and wisely so. Honestly, you don't see this enough. Or I mean, you do see it a fair bit, right? But too many times, and more than once, or even once, is more than enough, right? If you are the T side, or even if the T side, you've won, and you just rush straight in. These guys have got pistols, 4 USPs and 1 P250. You don't need to take it fast. You don't need to go for a rush. You need to be slow. You need to be thorough. And even if you're just playing a default for the first minute in the round, that could work out, and obviously it hasn't at this point in time. No kills have come through, but they're not rushing, they're not panicking, and that's exactly what we see. And they're not going B as well, yes. They're walking straight into A, and no one is here. They've taken it slowly, and that's the worst thing, right? If you just run straight into a stack. They've been wandering around, they've been having a little bit of a probe, a little bit of a peek, you know, a sneaky peek through, and eventually they realise no one's in A, we'll just get the plant for free, we can fall back, and now we can just hold it. And UWE, they don't need to save. There's absolutely nothing to save. They might as well try and get some sort of a rifle or a kill rewards from them. But, well, they're going to try to go for something in Panics. He's the first man waiting. He's the front line, and he's got a MAC-10 looking to try and make some money. $600 for a kill, and that is 600 made. That's 1,200 made. That's almost 1,800 made. PK's got his back. He pulls out the Glock as Angus takes down his teammate. But Panics will clear up Crit. The Glock is all you need. 5 stay alive. Rush B get to 11. A 5-round difference. And they're feeling or looking a lot more comfortable. And I hope that continues. They're 5-round difference, but also 5 rounds away.
I think this round, though, is going to be very interesting as to how we see this going, whether Rush B are the definite favourites moving forward, because the Sea Stags are finally on a bye. If they do lose this one, they will not be able to buy until Rush B likely go on to 13 themselves, and then, well, 13-6 looks very, very different to 11-7. So UWE will be fighting for everything in this round, almost survival, and well, that's not a very good start. Magic gets his head plucked off through the sandbags, and the magic thing about sand is it does stop bullets from going through in a very major way, but Xnave stops that one with a big potato.
Right around the edge of it. Beautifully thrown, and that is, I mean, that's coming together, right? Spamming them down, trying to get damage done, but then throwing a lovely little HE in there, finishes him off. You don't even know there's a guy there, and he's already dead. Man advantage, beautiful use of spamming, smokes, and util, and now they need to keep hold of that man advantage.
I think lining up towards B in the meantime, Rush B living up to their namesake, although maybe a bit less of a rush and more of a take. But UWE Sea Stags not really in a position for this one, although the smoke starts going down. They've started rotating in towards this angle. There are two towards here, which is more than the usual default of one player. And well, Mate picks up that first kill, going for a second as well, as they start swinging into him one by one. Rush B, they're falling apart, and Beva's pushed in behind. He's gone through the smoke. There's no way they're ready for this one, although the smokes themselves have kind of worked out for them. He's making a little bit of noise. I take it all back. That's 11-7. And like I said, this game stays close. Rush B not allowed to get away with it. The UWE Sea Stags economy, though, still not in the best of ways. And Rush B can still take this one pretty aggressively if they do manage to, you know, kind of show a little bit more potency in the late rounds. That early round has been very much all Rush B so far.
Yeah, very much so. And less rush, as you say, just B.
Just B,
that is
yeah.
Team name now, just B. I love that. But yeah, it'd be a great team name, just B.
Just
Who
B.
are you? We're B.
A and B.
Yeah, just a picture of B. just B. Anyway.
It'd be a bit obvious, right? There'd be a point where the other team would just be like, just stack 5 players on B. That's the only place they go. Yeah.
That's a gimmick. That could work. That could work, just for the comedy aspect. Maybe it won't get you a, you know, £125 Amazon voucher each, though. But could be fun. Anyway, Rush B. The money isn't too great. Obviously, we talked a fair bit about the money on UWE. The money on Rush B is not fantastic, but it could be worse. They do have 3 guys with AKs, and they've got a bit of util to use. And they're looking to try and at least use it efficiently, throwing flashes through the smoke, but a re-smoke down at the ramp position does keep UWE's control on it, on their, well, on the ramp position a bit longer, extends it, no fights needed. And Rush B will just be waiting that out.
I mean, they're using their utility smartly, though. This is kind of what you see a lot in, like, you know, more tactical pugs, I guess, is you'll see flashes and smokes thrown over in order to bait out some more utility from the CT side. Eventually, it forces them to a more passive position because they can't continue to hold as aggressively without the utility on their person. And well, eventually in the late rounds, it allows them to go towards different sites. It was something that, you know, Na'Vi showed a lot of the time. They were very, very good at making utility come out very aggressively and then, you know, going in towards usually the B bomb site. Well, this time it's not working. Rush B have lost 3 players to really just easy peaks that are coming out from UWE Sea Stags. Beva goes a little bit too aggressively with a flash from his teammate that hasn't worked out. Crit Molly in close though and knows that they are pushing in towards the B bomb site, playing in and around this pillar again. Mate's been so good here. This time doesn't work out for him. Mr. Hoy trades 1 for 1 in the meantime. 20 seconds left on the clock. Xnave, he's ready for the player in the flank. But UWE Sea Stags once again win the round and the deficit reduces to only 3.
That could have been very, very close there. If he would have got that kill, the headshot 1v1, that's certainly more than winnable. But unfortunately, Magic is just a bit quicker and does hit the shot. But either way, right, that was 4v2, I think? 2v5?
Yeah.
Something similar to that, right? But they get 3 kills, they push into the site, they make UWE squirm, and that is what they need to do, keeping their economy as low as possible, because only one guy on the CT side has more than £1,000 in his bank. So Rush B need to keep it low and try to do economic damage here. Getting a plant would be fantastic as well, but with 2 guys waiting here, it's not looking too likely. Beva getting up quite close, sitting in the corner, gets the first kill, looking for more, dings down, but Mate swinging out to help him. Does kind of leave him in a bit of a pickle. PK, the last alive, 100 HP, a Glock, and it's not much chance. Eventually somehow kills Crit. Don't quite know how that happens. That's like, you know, the single worst gun in the game, and he somehow takes down Crit with it, but it works out. Nice enough, but the nades will come through, so will the spam. It will get finished off. UWE with 3 alive, and taking the gap to within 2. It's getting closer and closer here, but 2 kills with just Glocks, essentially. It's not bad.
I don't think you could be too upset with that, really. From where the round was, you know, the player playing in close, it's the worst possible position for him when you've not got any utility. I think if they'd known he was there at the start and they knew that they weren't going to be able to clear him effectively, they'd have taken 2 kills. So UWE Stags, they may well have won the round, but it's whether they win the war. And, well, Panic's losing out very early means, well, UWE in a very, very nice spot. Riv as well, only on 37 HP. Very, very quickly. Rush B in a horrible spot, swinging wide as well. Riv does end up dying. 3 players positioned in towards middle, and the bomb, for some reason, on PK is challenging this.
That's a baffling decision to make. 3 guys in mid. That's very much a certain dominance, and you've got to have a pretty big call and pretty big suspicion that someone's going to be pushing mid and they don't just rush straight through A. But as we've said before, right, the smoke's been going down at the A ramp. Magic is playing here solo. And, you know, he's getting that confidence back. They're all getting that confidence back. They're taking these fights. Crit showing that off taking down Angus. And they're wanting this map and they're wanting to take it 3-0 in this series. And it's looking, I guess, more and more likely as they begin to come back. But obviously we're not over yet just, well, at all by any means. But one thing I think to point out, right, I said right at the start, all the way back at the pregame, Angus, right, he was the one of the key players, if not the key player. He's got the highest ADR statistically for Rush B throughout this entire season. And he's currently bottom fragging on Rush B. He needs to sort of step up and start hitting his frags. And Xnave obviously is doing a tremendous job, 23 kills himself at this point in time, but the rest of them, specifically Angus at the bottom of his team, you gotta hit your shots, man. Especially on this T side, you've got to pull your weight.
Yeah, the T side very, very different from the CT side on this map. It's kind of, you know, obviously the CT side and the T side are different, but on this one especially, it is very, very difficult to get into it without very strong strategy. And, well, they showed it on the CT side. Rush B calling the first tactical timeout of the entire final. Thank God we get to see one on the 11th round. And I think they are deciding to just go on a little bit of a force buy in a way. They're buying very, very aggressively considering the number of rounds that they've lost in a row. I think it's, yeah, oh, actually, they've lost 4 in a row. They are allowed to really buy this heavily. Down to 1,500 is sort of a zone that they could get in towards. Xnave buying down to 2,350 indicates to me that maybe they'll pick up an AWP next round, even if they do win this one. There may well be an AWP coming out because there is almost no reason to not buy head armor when you're playing on the AK against M4s.
Yeah, very much so. It's where you can sort of, you know, save that money. But odds buy from Rush B. I mean, Panic's gone. He just dropped the AK, so he's gone all the way down to $200.
Oh, he has.
Xnave going for the hero AK, but he's not investing much money himself. I mean, very odd decision. Don't quite know why Panic has invested all the way down, but Xnave has only got armor. Odds but hoping to make it work, and Panic's, they had $200 in the bank, and he's also got a kill. He looks to get more, gets a dink off, but nothing more. Crit will just spray down 2 of them and gets the 3rd, almost the 4th. Riv just finally fragging him back, but Magic's here. He's rotated quickly in to clean up. And after a lot of thought behind that round, with a tactical timeout and a very odd buy, they just get wiped out within 20 seconds.
I think, I mean, Xnave's not even bought an AWP, so I'm really confused as to why he's not got head armor in the last round. He's got $600 still left in his bank coming into this round, or 950. He would have had 600 if he bought head armor, and ultimately he died to Crit and Magic when they swung because he got headshot. So a very, very strange decision making for each of these players. I mean, it could be vindicated if they do win the round, if they win the game, but I'm a little bit confused by that choice and exactly why they've decided to buy in that way, especially when they've got 30 seconds for a timeout. Not exactly sure what's going on there. PK, oh, the nades. We talked about how good Rush B were throwing the nades up of ramp. Well, this time it's a very different story. UWE Stags spamming down into that position, and Rush B are flying in like bees into a meat grinder. I don't know. UWE Stags, they're playing very, very well. Only 1 player left alive for the T side in a 4 versus 1. 2 of them on the ramp as well. This isn't going to be an easy couple of kills to get. It's not going to be any kills to get. Rush B, they fall behind for the first time, I believe, in this entire match. And UWE Stags, they look like they're back on form.
Yeah, if you... Well, Rush B, they're the bees. The Sea Stags are very much forming a meat grinder at this point in time. They very much are. I mean, yeah, it's not going so well at this point in time for Rush B on this T side. But, well, they're trying nevertheless, and they're certainly still in this, right? 5 rounds away. UW only 1 round advantage, and they can just strike back as... Well, it doesn't quite strike back and strike too well this round as they get 1 kill, but lose all 5 players. It was a bit of a pistol... It was a pistol buy, essentially. It was very weak and not too much of an investment. Something, I mean, you would have liked to get something better than that, right? UWE on their T side, when they had a buy like that, they got closer to the site, they did more damage, they sometimes got the plant. Rush B, absolutely nowhere near that, but the round's over, right? You got to move on. We move. We move. We pick up the AKs, we pick up the util, and we try to put an end to this UWE streak. So far, not quite working, as PK does go down, but Rivtris is quick with a refrag back. So it does remain 4-4, and as we mentioned in the pre-game, that is beneficial to the Ts, but as soon as I start saying that, Mr. Hoy picking up the AUE, which is, I believe, the first time he's done this series, will get a frag back, and Bev is getting cheeky, hopping up above the smoke. He'll find a kill himself, and suddenly the advantage is, well, it's doubled that. UW on 4 players, Rush B only got 2, and they're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting, and it's not even Xnave. It's Angus still at the bottom of the team, and Panics on 16, so... They've got to make something magical happen. And when your players are just getting picked apart individually, 1 by 1 at different areas of the map, something's going to change.
Something does have to change indeed. They've not adapted really on the T side. They picked up the pistol, they picked up the following round, and since then they have been, you know, pretty limp in terms of the way that they've been playing and the rounds that they've been taking. Crit as well in towards middle, picks up both of those kills. UWE Stag's gone to 14, and I think Rush B are going to force into this next round if kind of their buying habits have been anything to go by. I don't think they're going to let this one go to overtime, although they are ultimately 100% going to prove me wrong in 2 seconds. But anyway, I think one of the things that maybe we want to see from them, or at least I want to see, I don't know about you, Ant, but they're going aggressive on ramp, or more aggressive than really they should be. Throwing the utility is good on bottom ramp, but they're kind of giving themselves up into the 1 versus 1 fights from UWE C-Stacks players that are pushing forward, the CTs that are pushing a little bit more aggressively in towards all of these positions. And what I'd really like to see is just kind of... I know obviously this can't be done for us now, but I want to see just how many rounds after this game and when I go back home, just how many rounds the C-Stags have won from just getting like picks on ramp, because Rush B are like playing in and around that forklift too much, sorry, the crate too much.
Now, isn't it?
Yeah, and like getting quite a lot of losses early on in the round. If they just sit a bit more passive towards T-spawn or towards the bridge, still throwing the utility occasionally and making noise spraying through occasionally, they're still going to get the same effect and still going to force the CTs to throw just as much utility, but they don't need to be actually in any position of danger while they're doing that, because the CTs aren't going more aggressive. And once again, he's gone too aggressive. He's been jumping over the box, and the CTs have taken advantage of it. The C-Stags, they're playing very well in and around their utility, and they're throwing a lot of it very early on. Just wait till the last 45 seconds and then push forward.
Or at least try to bait it out, right? You can't just sit there and wait and have nothing happen. Try to bait something out and do something, but going individually 1 by 1 like this, it's not ideal. And you can see here, Beva just waiting. Crit will take down one sole player over by A, or mid, sorry, I think it was. But Beva, he takes 2. He just pops up, gets 1, swings out, gets the second, and blink and you miss it. Panics is the last alive. UWE on the verge of map points, 1 kill away, and that 1 kill is found by Crit. Straight to the face. They're 1 round away from taking this final 3-0. And Rush B, they look so good in that first half, and a good start here. You see at the bottom, 2 rounds. They've got the pistol, they've got the follow-up, but after that, it's just been the UWE show. They've just been taking control and taking command.
Yeah, I mean, Magic as well, on almost 16k for the CTs.
Jeez.
That shouldn't be happening. There is no way that they should be allowed to build just that much money. This time, going for a rush. The AUE not allowed to get as many as maybe he hoped he would. 2 kills coming out for Rush B in quick succession, although Crit swings in and picks up one of his own. He's playing in and around the site, gets a nice little nade coming through, the headshot as well, and UWE C-Stags pick that one up. They win the map 16-11, take it 3-0 in the series, winning that best of 5, and I believe that makes UWE our finalists. Oh, sorry, not our finalists, our winners of the grand finals.
It certainly does, and I mean, well deserved, right? At the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and UWE certainly proved exactly why they should be that one winner. And I'm very sure they're going to be very happy with their one non-named EU trip to an S tier final, which is actually a fantastic prize, right? It's a fantastic prize. So, you know what? Well deserved, and obviously commiserations to Rush B, because they were fantastic, and they certainly showed that they could have had more.
Yeah, I mean, they look so good on the CT side. It's going to hurt for them, but I think this really does go to show the difference between a team that's at the top and a team that's second to the top, is that ability to show how good they are on the T side. T side means everything. CT side, it's hard in itself, but you're expected to pick up the rounds in CT side. You have that natural advantage. The T side is a little bit harder, and well, we saw today that UWE Stags picked it up and looked a lot better on that half.
UWE Stags did absolutely incredible, and congratulations to them for winning those Tier 1 event tickets. I think that's something really to be looking forward to, but let's be completely honest, yes, there is a bit of a difference, not just in the terms that they won, but also in the amount of rounds that they were winning. So, you got team number 1, team number 2. But if we have to talk about MVP, starting off with Rush B specifically, Zach, who would that be for you?
I mean, I think for me, it'd be Xnave. Probably showed up so much in a lot of very key rounds. And there's a lot of players that on that team I do want to talk about. I mean, Riv as well. I don't think he went positive on either map, and that obviously commiserations. But when you're losing both maps, you don't expect players to really be, picking up a lot of kills. But he performed well above what I was expecting as well, and put in a performance he can be proud of. But Xnave especially looked good on both maps, especially on that CT half.
Yeah, and when we're looking at UWE Stags, who would it be for you?
That's a good question. I think maybe Crit, because he had 27 kills at the end of that second map. If not him, even throughout, he had a very slow start, then just came in and just completely just wiped through on that T side, showing his potential so well and just magnificently. And obviously on the first map, doing very well as well. If not, maybe Magic. He had quite a lot of very important rounds, quite a few 3K rounds with the AUE. So it's
I think I'd agree with you on Crit. I think he did a really great job. Both of those players as well, very, very close and do very good things together, both Crit and Magic. Almost kind of, when you think of one, you think of the other. So, not too different when you think of them both. But I think I agree that Crit was probably the better of all the players, although they all played fantastically, right, for UWE. But to take it 3-0, but still, I think Crit's probably my MVP as well.
Well, they're really working well together as a well-oiled machine should, and a very well-oiled team indeed they were. So let's talk about the games we've just seen. I know everybody's absolutely ecstatic to see the winner coming through, but I want to talk about the most memorable moment of tonight. I'm going to start off with you, and what would that be?
All I can think of coming to mind was the rounds on Mirage early on, right? With Mr. Hoy with his MP9 sitting in Palace, comes out, gets 2 kills, somehow stays alive, but then, was it Xnave? I think it was Xnave, right? He finished him off, then turned around, then got 2 more. So a 3v1 and a surprise visit from Palace. I love that. I love that round. It was a good round. Shouldn't have happened, perhaps, but,
pushing Palace is something you see a lot, right? And something obviously should have been predicted by Rush B. At the same time, you kind of can't facilitate everything. If you're checking every single angle, it is obviously very difficult. For me, there's 2 memorable rounds in this, one of them for bad reasons and one of them for good.
Okay.
Mr. Hoy hiding underneath Palace and getting far more kills than he should have done with that 5-7.
Oh,
that's something that really does stick out to me as maybe a moment to forget for Rush B and a moment to remember and immortalize for Mr. Hoy, because it was ridiculous. And then on the other side of things, I think that pistol round of Mirage for the Rush B side, in that 1 versus 2 at the end, getting those 2 kills on the players pushing him from alley onto scaffolding, it was beautiful. It was fantastic to watch, and it was very nice to cast as well.
Well, we talked about our most memorable moments, and I would be like, what you guys want to ask the players, but don't you worry, because we have an interview scheduled with the winners tonight, so we'll be able to ask those ourselves, just waiting on it to be coming through. And we're ready to go for the interview. So first of all, I want to say congratulations, UWE Stags. You guys got that W. You showed up and you did an incredible performance this evening. Bebe, how are you feeling after that one?
Pretty tired, to be honest. I had full life here. I just tired. I just want to go back to bed. It was good to win, 100% win rate. So I think we only dropped 1 map, and it was these guys that are on in the season. So pretty well played, I think, for everyone, especially Matt coming into the lineup with players slightly, he was just given basically all of the noob spots to just don't have fun basically. But no, he's been on a really good season, so happy for him mostly.
Yeah, we'll keep this interview short and sweet so that you can go back to bed, and I know some people are looking to eat as well. I'm gonna start with you, and if you happen to have any questions for the players specifically, maybe some intel you want to gather.
How are you feeling, right? What was it, 11 to 6? How are you feeling at that point in time? And what did you say to sort of if you just turn around the, because you lost the pistol, you lost the follow-up on Vertigo, this is the, the second map.
Yeah.
So what did you say? Was there any sort of panic there? Were you like, hang on a minute, we're a bit wobbly sort of thing? Or were you calm and confident the entire way?
I mean, we just know we're that much better than them. I just had fully go, let's go next round with M4s at low kev and just own them. And then I think we had like a flawless round the round after, so it was pretty easy to be honest against them.
Zach, any questions of your own?
Fair enough. I mean, strong words there coming out as well. I mean, any Rush B players watching this stream afterwards might have some choice words about that one.
Also. They're typing off to us no service, so I'll give it an interview.
But when you're, when you're coming into this, obviously you guys are a pretty strong lineup in terms of where you guys are, as UK players within the scene. How do you avoid complacency coming into this one? And I kind of want to know what your preparation was as well. Were you looking at any demos of any kind? Were you kind of peeking into what Rush B were doing, or were you just coming in playing your own game?
No, I mean, earlier on in the season we had a few like hurdles. I think there was quite a few close maps, 16-14s. That was because me and Hoy were like mid-game trying to shoot each other off the board, like just having fun with it. But against these guys, like, it felt like more personal, because like I said, like they were typing a bit, and yeah, we had some fun with it. But I mean, if we really wanted to try and put everything into it, it could have been a lot more one-sided, I think. But yeah, we had to focus up a bit more for the final, but nothing too special, I don't think.
I mean, maybe, you're saying you could have made it a bit more of a whitewash. It was nicer to watch it when it was a bit closer, I think. It was better to guess, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's not so fun for cards when it's just 16-4, 16-4, 16-4. It's a bit boring, but they had some good rounds coming in. I think Nave played pretty well. He had like a really nice 1v3, 1v4 T-side Vertigo pistol. That was really sick, actually. But other than that, like, yeah, no, I thought like, yeah, it was whatever.
Well, thank you so much for the time to have this interview. But before we cut it out, I want to give you the opportunity, and I want to ask you the question here. If you happen to have any final shout-outs that you would like to give, whether it's to your teammates, whether it's to your parents, your dog, your cat, it doesn't really matter. Any shout-outs, just give them.
I just shout out to Manho Hoy. That's it, really. It's just Mr. Hoy, best player in the scene. Just to play with him for like the short stint of time is an honor that so many people just couldn't have in their careers. So just happy to share the stage with them, really. That's about it.
Well, thank you so much for that, and go enjoy the celebration, and make sure you guys really enjoy that Tier 1 event, those Tier 1 event tickets, and that trip that you're going to be taking. Have an incredible evening.
Thank you so much, guys.
Well, casters, I'm going to be asking you the exact same question as we are, nearing the end of the broadcast, so I'm going to start with Zach. Final shout-outs you want to give? You're like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I think I always give these shout-outs, and I'm always loved for giving them. But I'm gonna
so
give a quick shout-out to MSC and Charlie behind the scenes, as well as all of our production staff as well. Those guys make this happen. Obviously, we've got our sponsors involved, but the guys behind the scenes, they are absolutely incredible. We would not be here without them. And, well, I think we'd be struggling a lot more with a lot more technology. We've seen just how long it takes to make just one graphic. So, it's really quite difficult behind the scenes for them. They've brought it all together for us and made a very flawless day today. As well as that, just like to thank my brother, who I think is tuned into this right now. It's good to see you again, Hamoudi. Yeah, I'll see you when I'm home.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a wholesome one. Are you going to be able to top that one?
I don't think so, right? No? Yeah, that's what I always do with his shout-outs. Obviously, the broadcast seems fantastic, and obviously, shout-outs to all of us doing, I hope, was a good job, sort of thing. Shout-out to all the players, everyone who competed. Shout-out to our friendly neighborhood narwhal, Mr. Noah there. And other than that, I don't think too much. Shout out to all people watching. Obviously, it's lovely to have an audience to broadcast to, and everyone's special out there for all of us and all of you. Twitch chat in general, I guess. Yeah, Twitch chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening. We'll be back again tomorrow with some League of Legends. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you follow the socials so you know what's up to date. We're gonna be heading out. Have a good evening, everyone. It was absolutely lovely to be here. See you tomorrow.
Bye.